Welcome, people of Earth. Okay, so welcome to Google Plus Week, everyone. I am Dan McDermott, your humble host, and even when I'm not late, because I announced we're going to be late, we're late. So I am humbled further. So our panel tonight is Alan Firstenberg in New York. Welcome, Alan.
Hey, Dan. We already have this comment from Cadeas, and I would say we've got lots of comments already, but I wanted to highlight this one from Cadeas. I love when they're late. I actually count on them being late every time I watch live. It gives me time to get situated without missing anything. Because
as we know, Cadeas has many accessories.
So once again, we're glad to say that we have exceeded your expectations, Cadeas.
Indeed.
Evening, Dan.
Also, Craighton Miller joins us via audio and a thumbnail. Welcome, Craighton.
No, don't look, I'm naked. Oh, wait.
TMI.
It's going to be a good show tonight, folks.
Fully clothed, but just as much fun, joining us from the Navajo Reservation, where he spent all of his wife's money in a casino, is Harold Carey Jr. Welcome, Harold.
Hi. You know, if you hit the little red phone, it closes your window instead of the mute button. That's what I've been doing.
Awesome. Speaking of red, Michael Banks joins us from Augusta, Georgia. He eats constantly and has zero body fat.
Oh yes, oh yes. What's up?
What are you eating?
I'm eating a Sonic Blast from Sonic. Reese's type.
Ooh, that sounds good. Hey, Dan, while you're thinking about it, maybe you should close the internal chat so that everyone doesn't have to see everything we're talking about them behind their backs.
And Sheila DuBois is here.
Hello.
Welcome, Sheila.
Thank you.
See, I can't see who's there if I do this. Who's next? Me. So we're good. As long as I'm in HD. I'm in 720 pixels. Okay, so anyway.
Dan.
Yes, sir.
Close the internal chat.
It's closed now.
Okay.
I did it after you told me, but there's a delay of 30 seconds or something. Unlike the show, which has a delay of 20 minutes. Anyway, so there was an update or two this week, and we all agree that they're all amazing. So it's basically going to be a contest to see who can praise them all the most, because they're all just working wonderfully. Obviously, I'm setting up for a fall here. So first up, Alan's favorite topic, photo stuff.
So, Michael, why don't you introduce us to the photo stuff, because you're the one that I learned about.
Let's try to keep this first topic under an hour. And
you said under an hour?
I don't know. Look at all these comments. Thank you all. Please keep them coming. Go ahead, Michael Banks.
So, basically, Google decided to help us find our photos even faster, that they decided to put a drop-down calendar to your highlights. It lets you jump from year and the month that you're looking for instead of scrolling for like 2 hours how it used to be.
Or instead of searching.
Or searching.
Because,
so, I mean, I think it's a small step forward. A small step forward. I mean, you still have the same structure to it, but it just makes it easier to jump from one spot to another if you know the month and year of your photo.
I will agree. This is a small step forward, and when they went to take the second step, they tripped over their shoelaces.
What second step?
Well, you know, making this actually useful. I mean, it still only works for highlights. It doesn't work for all of your photos, so just highlights. And I noticed that the first thing that I noticed quite brilliantly is that the calendar goes back to 1970.
Is that in honor of Admiral Hopper?
No, it's in honor of the fact that the Unix time epoch starts on January 1st, 1970. So they didn't bother to go back before then for no good reason. But it shows every single month and year in there, even if there are no photos from that time period.
It was probably easier to code that way, probably.
Even if there are no Google Plus photos from that period?
Right.
I thought it was a cool story, like the YouTube 301 views or something.
I don't know. It might be great if you could actually, you know, insert files and date them back from then, and that would be useful, but no, you can't do that.
You could say, well, you should do it. You should edit your EXIF data and claim the first Google Plus photo.
I'm not sure if the EXIF data will work correctly. I don't know, Michael, if you put something in under an earlier date, how do you put it in under an earlier date?
We could ask those people who send me all the spam emails. They know how to do it.
That's easy. Emails are easy. I don't know. What bugs me is, yes, it certainly was easier to code. Sure, I could have assigned a junior programmer to do that, and it would only have taken them a month or two. It might have taken them, what, a couple of days more to actually get something that only showed you months that actually had pictures? I don't know. I mean, yes, it's nice. I'm glad they did it. But like I said, it's, you know, they tripped over their shoelaces in trying to make it something real.
What would be, I mean, it's easy to say something doesn't work. But I mean, what would be a good alternative to it?
What would be, I've already outlined on this very show what a good alternative would be. And a good alternative would be...
To
that. The good alternative to that would be, gee, actually, you know what would be a good alternative to that? What Gerwin wrote.
What is that? Everyone's not apprised of everything Gerwin writes.
Well, he's made it pretty public what he wrote. And what it does is it lets you pick the date by month and year, shockingly enough, of photos that are in not just your highlights, but also your entire auto backup. And it uses it using a standard a standard menu hierarchy that people have been using for this sort of thing for decades.
How come like one guy...
And it will only show dates that have photos in them. Come on.
Can we just hire Gerwin and ship him to Mountain View?
Well, Dan, I just clicked on December of 2003, and basically it goes directly from December 2003 to the previous month, and under that. So I can see all my photos that I did back there, but it doesn't just give you that month. It gives you all the month earlier than that. So it's a really nice feature. I can just keep scrolling down and seeing all the photos I have, and it's bringing out a few from each of the months.
So it's the highlights.
Definitely an improvement, I will say.
Okay, so let's assume, for argument's sake, let's pretend that I don't know exactly how to get to this feature. Hypothetically speaking,
it's really easy.
What would I do?
You click on Photos.
Okay, I'm there.
And if you look in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see a date.
Yeah.
You click on that. I'll give them credit. It's easy enough that you might even be able to figure out how to use it, Dan.
I think I figured it out.
Shocking.
Yeah, if you go down to a really old date, I'm going all the way back to 1996.
I went to 1970. It gave me nothing.
I have a picture of 97. I have one picture from 97.
You say it gave you nothing, Alan?
Nothing.
So I clicked on January 1970, and it actually gave me photos.
I've got my picture of a dead bear.
Do you have photos from January 1970?
No.
Well, gee, it's working better than expected, even.
Some of these are probably photos that have no date meta tag to them, and it can't discern what date it is.
That would be a good guess for January 1970. Try February 1970.
Okay, February 1970. I still got the same photos that it gave me 1970.
Yeah, it basically it stops at a certain month if you don't have any past that.
I'm not sure what use this feature has.
Oh, the use is actually, I mean, it makes sense. Instead, if you wanted to go look at pictures that you posted last December, for example, previously you would be scrolling forever to get to 12 months previous. Now you can just jump back to that time period. That's good, and that's a good start.
But it appears to just go to that day, not the month.
But I don't
Okay.
since you can't
Okay, now
specify the
I
day.
have a question to ask. If I
I
upload,
like that.
You know what I seem to like so far? It's that 4 different people, of the 4 of us who have tried it, we've got 4 completely different behaviors.
If I click on the date, it goes to that day.
But we also have different type of
How do you
photos.
click on a day?
You must think the months are days.
When I
I
go
mean, I
to the
can click
date
on
here,
month.
at the top of the picture, like I got this really scary looking picture of Shep Smith with the gigantic iPads or whatever the hell he has. And it's October 18th, and there's another picture from that date. So if I click on that date, it takes me to...
Once you're actually looking at the dated albums.
It only takes me to that picture. It doesn't even take me to both pictures on that date.
This is the steps. This is the steps that you do. Once you've got the month, you go over to the right-hand side, and it says 19 photos. And if you click on that, it shows them all.
This totally does not look anything
Well,
like
you
what-
Mine does not say that. Mine says highlights, all photos, or
No,
the
okay.
date.
What I've done is I picked March 2006.
How do you
okay?
pick March? How do you? I just have an option to pick a date.
Yeah,
What
I
is
just
it?
go to 2006 and hit March.
In the upper right-hand corner, when you click on that, it doesn't show you a list of years and months? What does it show you, Dan?
In
What
the
are you
upper
looking at?
right-hand corner, under more or what?
No.
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 It should say
Upper
it should
right-hand corner, not in the middle of the screen.
right and under the green.
Dan, are
Hangouts
you
button.
at plus.google.com/photos?
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. I see it. I was in the wrong place.
the wrong place?
This is a largely, I don't know. I guess this is a nice, yeah, I can go to the month.
It's a nice feature, and
Okay,
I'm glad to see that
once
they're-
you're at the month, you go to the right, and it tells you how many photos are in that month.
Really?
I mean, yeah, in that thing.
It does.
Yeah, mine
Really?
says. Yeah, mine actually says. I'm right here. It says 19 photos from February 20th to December 7th.
Really?
Mine doesn't tell me that.
Mine doesn't appear
Well,
to
you
tell
don't
me
have
that.
that many photos in that time limit, I guess.
Well, I went to 2005.
Now, this
and
one
clicked-
says. Okay. On July 20th, July 20th, it says 70 photos, and
that's-
then you click on it and it shows all 70.
Once you look at the highlights album, that was the previous feature that was there.
Ah.
Is you're looking at the date album.
Yeah. Okay, so what I was wondering now, if I upload a photo and it has a time stamp, right now I don't have any photos before 2002. So if I upload up from a camera, will it show me that photo in the year 2002?
I don't know, Michael.
I can
It's-
quickly get a photo and test it out if we need.
I have a whole bunch of
I
Olympic
don't
photos
think-
from the Olympics of 2002 that I haven't uploaded.
I really don't think so.
Let's see.
Well, it's got to be. Somehow it's got these timestamps in it.
But
Because
these
I uploaded
timestamps
this.
may have been from when they were uploaded,
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Correct.
Maybe
not when they
Yeah.
were taken.
Correct.
Okay.
Because they
Okay.
placed them in
that might be
folders.
true.
Yeah.
Mine are like when they were taken, not when they were uploaded.
Well, that could be the same time.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, if you use a device, usually you upload them the same time as you take them.
Hmm.
But a lot of these pictures are old Navajo pictures. They were from the 1800s, and they got a date on them of April 2012. But they're my old Navajo pictures that I uploaded at that time.
Right. So I don't know. Again, it's not a bad feature, but
Hmm.
it really.
It really helps you so you can find your photos. I do like that. You don't have to scroll forever, ever. And we know, Alan, how much you like to scroll.
Agreed.
Forever,
but,
forever,
but to be
forever,
perfectly
ever, ever?
honest, I wish it's not a bad addition, but I think the way that it was implemented shows a certain amount of lameness. and really demonstrates that they're still grasping, they're still not understanding this concept of photo management.
Well, it's better than what it was.
Yes, that's how I look at most every improvement. I just look how it was, and then look at the improvement.
I'll be honest. I'll be honest. I used to look at, and we'll talk about some further improvements tonight where I really have to wonder if it's better than what it was. But I've gotten to the point where I'm just like, okay, so what if it's better? It's still grossly lacking.
Well, I mean, nothing.
It sucks less.
Seriously, if they expect me to take it seriously, they need to actually make real advancements.
There is nothing, no product anywhere that is not lacking in some point or some facet.
Well, are you referring to Google Plus?
I'll agree with that. Michael, I'll agree with that. My problem is that some of these things have been lacking for well over 2 years now. And I'm getting tired of saying Google Plus has so much potential. It really is getting to be time that you get past the potential and start earning your keep here.
I thought they were all like catering to the photographers. You'd think if nothing else, they'd get this right.
Well, that's the thing, Dan, is they're highly schizophrenic on who they're actually catering to with the photographs. As we've discussed innumerable times.
Apparently they're catering to disorganized people because they're trying to get them organized, I guess.
No, this is not a step towards organization.
It's not?
No.
Well, I thought so.
I thought so too.
It's not. If this was a step towards organization, they would have done it completely differently. They wouldn't have given me a calendar that goes back to 1970.
Come on, you know why they did that.
Oh, maybe you uploaded a photo that was from 1970.
No,
if I go back to 1970, it doesn't show anything.
I know. But I did that too, and it brought up a couple of other photos that does not.
That probably means all your photos have a date attached to them.
Yeah. Like, I'll give you an example. This photo here that I'm showing now is a picture of me winning first prize as Mr. Pomona when I was 3 years old. And it has a date of February 27th, 2012.
No, that's when you uploaded it, correct?
Yeah. But see this. This is my. But I didn't even know this picture was on there. It's a picture when I was 3 years old.
Click on photo details.
It is on details. Details.
How tall is that woman? Like 8 feet?
It says dimensions. Blah, blah, blah.
They take it in line 2. It's not embedded in the metadata for the.
Yeah, it's not. There's no metadata because it was just a scanned picture. Mm-hmm. I scanned it off of an old photo I had of my mom gave me. Of course,
so what does it do with that photo? So I think it pulls in that date that you uploaded and attaches it to that.
Probably.
Yeah.
We got some funny comments.
But here's
that is just cute.
Here's an interesting point, though. This is a place where Facebook got it right.
How?
Because this photo that Harold is currently showing on Facebook, he'd be able to give the date or at least the month and the year that it took place, and it would show on his timeline correctly like that.
Oh, okay.
Real quick, Cadeas gave me some directions. I appreciate that. Michael Daniels, you were alive in 1800? Michael's a little punchy tonight. They had camera phones in the 1800s. And then when can the Gmail team talk to the question for Alan, Google Plus Photos team, about keyboard shortcuts? And then keyboard shortcuts in Google Plus Photos, when will they get the message? And
I'm trying to figure out if Kevin is trying to get me to start a new rant.
Yeah, he is. Only reason...
Best comment is from Captain Euro. Google Plus is like a cheating partner. You keep hoping that it's going to work out, but after a while you give up.
Only on Facebook, it does not allow you to change it in the way you think. The only thing Facebook is doing that Google Plus isn't is Google Plus doesn't allow you to change, like for Hal's case, the February date. Facebook allows you to change that date. It's not saying that photo was dated at that time. It's acting as if he uploaded it in his profile on that day.
That's correct.
But I mean...
But that's actually more useful.
Useful, but not in the sense of organization.
You're kidding me, right?
It's useful for telling the story, but it's not useful to know when he actually uploaded this photo.
You're kidding me, right?
How so?
You're trying to tell me that it's more useful to know when I uploaded a photo for than to know when the photo was taken or when the photo is relevant to?
Well,
is that what you're saying, Michael?
In my workflow, yes. Because I would know in my head when I took that photo, but if I'm looking at on the actual date it's supposed to be on, I'm not going to know where that photo's at. Unless it's
so if you don't upload your Christmas photos to July, you'll remember that fact that you uploaded them in July and not that they're about Christmas.
I sure will. That's how my brain works. That's just me. I'm not left free.
Okay, and then you know what, Michael? That's fine. Then you should be able to leave it to the upload date. But for those of us that actually want to mark when something takes place and be able to search for it based on that, changing the date of something is very useful for organizational purposes.
To be fair, now I see how it's created, how it's intended to work. Again, going back to your phone, it's going to take the phone, your phone's going to take the pictures and going to upload it, and it's going to use the date that you took the pictures and date that auto backup.
And to be fair,
it works. In a perfect world, that works perfectly. But I get what you're saying.
And to be fair, I understand that that's how it works by default. And that makes a great deal of sense about how it would work by default. I wouldn't want it to try to magically figure out when Harold's photo was taken originally. But I think it's very useful for some organizational purposes to have this other date.
Agreed.
And in fact, things like Google Drive do support that field.
But Google Drive is totally different. But
of course Google Drive is totally different. That's another problem.
Okay, Mr. Olvestad, whose first name I can't pronounce, has a interesting comment on this. He says, any information you assign yourself to the photo is more helpful to you to organize it than computer-generated information for most of us.
And you still have access to that information.
Right,
and beyond the ability to create a folder, which is kind of kludgy.
Sound like Alan's point.
You can't really do much else.
But here's the problem, Dan. Even if I created if I create a folder today that's labeled me and Alan in 1974, and I put photos into there, they're going to end up with today's date.
But you can easily search for them when you use that thing right there.
But I can search for them, but I then can't use the calendar tool to let me know when they showed up or when they were taken.
Correct. Yeah.
So for organizational purposes, they're useless.
Oh, come on.
Oh, you'll like Michael Daniels' comment, Alan. Alan is right. I want to date when the photo was taken or when the photo's from. I think the Google Plus Photos app is wonderful, perfect, discuss.
If you took a photo right now,
what's the best way to edit photo metadata on a Windows machine?
Here's what it boils down to. And Michael, here's really what it kind of boils down to, is both we and Google are assigning a lot of metadata to these photos. They're assigning metadata to the photos based on the content of the photos. I mean, that's one of the brilliant and beautiful things about the Google Plus photo system. What they should be doing, in addition, though, is now that they have that metadata, expose that metadata to us for our organizational purposes. Let us have those virtual folders so we can see things showing up in a virtual folder. See things showing, what dates are in those virtual folders. What virtual folders we have in dates.
Just a
question, Michael, is metadata is... EXIF data is what the camera generates. Metadata is other stuff, and EXIF data might be a subset of that. What the hell?
EXIF data is metadata. Metadata is basically data about the photo itself.
So EXIF data is a subset of metadata, sort of.
Right. So
Kevin Bryan wants to know how you would edit that in Windows.
What was that?
How would you edit that on a Windows machine? Your metadata.
Photo, if you go right-click on the photo and go to Properties, you'll see your data right there if you go to Details. But other than that, it'll be like basically photo editing software like Lightroom, Picasa, stuff like that. You can edit the metadata there.
Bridge also does it. Adobe Bridge.
Yeah, most Adobe products. To clear up a comment that was earlier, as of now, if you took a photo and uploaded it, either auto backup or regular upload, it will use the date you took the photo. I mean, it still does that. The reason why this stuff has happened because we manually uploaded this stuff a long time ago. And that's
Okay,
why-
so I can confirm that it's if you upload a photo that has the EXIF data before when it was taken, like I just uploaded a photo from 1970, it's actually putting it in 1970, the date.
It's using the EXIF data from the photo.
And it's using the EXIF data from the phone. So I just made a picture that said this image was made on December 13, 2013. I then exported it as a JPEG. I just changed the EXIF data to January 1st, 1970, and it's now in January 1st, 1970.
And that only works.
Change it to 1912.
That only works with pressing the calendar. Now, if you use your photos thing, you'll still see it at the top. But
No, I don't see it at the top. I actually don't see it at the top.
What if it's
There was
before
no-
1970?
there was
Would
no
you
date
break the
stamps.
Google computer?
There was no cameras with date stamps in 1970, so how could you have done that?
Well,
manually put your
it's
name.
Google's code. I mean, they're probably not going to validate the date. They're just going to
Well, here's the
date.
thing.
What if it's prior to 70?
The EXIF data doesn't necessarily represent the EXIF data represents when the photo was taken, not necessarily when the digital camera took the photo. The EXIF data can be set by hand. That's fine. It's allowed.
I'm not going to see the paper. I can write the date to be 1970, but I know I didn't write 1970.
Could we get into more intricate detail on this feature?
We certainly can.
And stop painting in these broad strokes?
Look at them.
Does anyone have a cyanide tablet I could have? Just one?
Sure.
I'm really enjoying this. You want to keep going for another,
I don't know, Dan. Do you want ratings or
Let's go
not?
to the next-
I vote we move
I've long
on.
given up.
We can go to the next item.
Okay, photos are
We
done.
used to have like 2,000 views before
Yeah,
Still got
photos.
photos have been hashed.
We still got another
Day.
photo story.
Okay, so Mr. Olvestad says, I'm Norwegian, so I'll not expect you to be able to pronounce my name, but you were close on the surname, though. Thank you. It shows me photos from before Google Plus started in 09 when I select the month in 09, so it does consider the EXIF date as well. Okay.
Well, but that doesn't surprise me because even if you uploaded it using Picasa, it would use the Picasa information, which I'm assuming is what Gerwin stumbled across.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Where's the other photos?
By the way, Gerwin is
Oh.
the one who created this wonderful
one
tool
under
that I'm
advertising.
exploiting for the comments. So please keep the comments coming. As
Oh, yes.
Michael
So
eats and gains no weight at all, 0 body fat.
I just did a quick test and I made the date 1912. Google is interpreting that as 2012, not 1912.
Oh, I'm laughing at
Okay.
Michael Daniels.
Dan, I just uploaded a photo just this second that I took in 2003, and it stamped it with the date May 26, 2003. It did not put today's date.
Okay, so it's using the EXIF data if it has it.
This is what happens when you gather people who have no other commitments on a Friday night.
Now, if you upload the same
The
photo
definition of free time.
to a post, if you upload the same photo to a post, it will not have that date. It'll keep the
Yeah,
metadata.
it is a post right now.
Well,
it is. I'll show
when you
you.
upload it as
I
a
just
post,
posted
it's
it just a
gonna
second.
post it when you posted it. It's not gonna post it
Post
back.
it. Yeah.
Well, but it'll have it twice. It'll have the folder with today's date on it, but the photo itself may still have
Yes.
the old EXIF data.
Yes, it does. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
so that's
exactly.
excellent news. Speaking of photos, not to change the subject, because this is technically the same subject. The Android app gets an update with. I thought it was just the Android app, or I thought it was like just an awesome thing that happens in Google. Is it on your phone? What the hell?
We covered the snowing auto awesomeness last week.
Why is it
This-
back?
This is even more because this is even more awesome.
It wanted to give Alan his control back. He wanted more control, so it gave him.
Yes.
This is
Last
better
week
than
they
the
listened to me.
cocaine picture that they added snow to. It was
Yeah,
like
now
a
you
dollar
got
bill
cocaine
with
picture.
cocaine, and they made it.
This is actually a little different because now you can add snow to any picture that you want on Google Plus as long as you're using the Android app. All you need to do is shake your phone.
It doesn't work.
Do you have the new app?
I did. It's supposed to auto update, isn't it?
So how do you do it?
Did you set it for? It's
not
it's
working.
easy. You go to a picture and you shake your phone and it starts snowing on your photo.
Okay, I'm gonna have to try this. So this will work on my Nexus 7, right?
Well,
Yes.
probably not, but
No, but it should work on your Note 2.
it should work as long as you have the new Google Plus app. That's pretty much what it boils down to. I would also point out there's more to this update than just snowing on your phone. But this is the one that everyone is talking about.
We haven't fixed anything, but it snows on your phone now.
Yes, well, you know, this is Google.
This is like, you don't get a raise, but you have a new title.
They listened to Alan from
So how
last
does
week.
it... I just go to any photo in Google Plus on
When
my
I
phone.
shake mine, the only thing that happens is salt and pepper comes out.
Salt and pepper.
Chuck wants to know, did you cover the twinkling auto awesome?
Yes.
We covered that last week.
So just somewhere in the 4 hours last week.
No, I must not have the new update.
So I have camera highlights. So I can pick a photo from my camera or from my Google Plus.
I don't know. Is there a difference anymore? Michael, figure that out.
You're supposed to go to Google Plus, hit Photos, and then pick a picture.
No, I think you can do it on existing pictures. Anyway, the other thing I'd point out is that some of the other... Well, Dan tries to figure out how to use his phone.
I can't open a photo. If it selects it, then what do I do? Select?
Just press it with your finger.
Now I think this sucks. This whole... I just want to open the photo to get snow on the Pope.
What?
I don't know what the
Plus
hell I'm
sucks?
doing.
What? Dan doesn't know what the hell he's doing?
Okay, I click photo on my phone. Okay, and then I've got photos. So I pick the like I'll pick the Pope Time Magazine photo, and it just selects it. How do I open it?
Tap on it again.
It unselects it.
I don't know.
Oh, okay, there we go. So then I just
what
shake
was
it.
that?
So, Alan, is this update for which of the apps is it for? Is it for the Google Plus app, or is it for the Gallery app?
I believe
Or
it is for Google
which app?
Plus. It is for Google
Okay.
Plus and Photos, not for the gallery.
Okay.
You figure out what you're doing yet, Dan?
Do they
I'm
just
trying to
announce
find
stuff
my
that they don't actually
Latest
do?
version.
So I've got the photo open.
Well, here, Dan, here's the thing. Did you get the latest version of the Google Plus app?
I think. Jesus.
Okay, I'm on the Google Plus app. I'm going to see what version I have.
We have this comment from Gerwin for one of the other features that I wasn't aware of. The second most important change in the Android app are the hearts that show up when you +1 something.
That's hold on. He's giving away secrets. That's Valentine's.
Oh my God.
Valentine's.
An
What are
early
you doing?
Alan, the Google Plus app I have is 4.2.3. Which one do you have?
I don't know.
Does
What makes you
Gerwin
think I have
know-
the right one, even?
Does Gerwin know how funny he is?
4.2.3.
I don't know if Gerwin appreciates how funny he is.
I think Gerwin very much appreciates himself. Wait a minute, that didn't quite come out
Oh
right.
my God. But those are unlisted YouTube videos. All right. So let me look and see if I have an update on my Nexus, my beautiful 2012.
Which-
I have the
I wish you
Indian.
would
I have
tell
the
me when
version
it's
of the Nexus 7 from India. It's the 2012 version. It's the latest.
I'm trying to find out what the latest app is for you.
Yeah, because it's 4.2.3 on mine.
Let me go.
That
To,
sounds old.
Well, I don't know how it's supposed to automatically update.
Well, it will eventually.
just I hope our viewers appreciate
Keyword there
the
is
many
eventually.
hours we spend preparing for this program.
So many hours that we were late.
Yeah,
Okay.
eating food.
That's
so
why we
can
were
laugh.
late. We were testing all these features.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to go to Google Plus, and I guess then I want to go to settings and about. At least they have
Okay.
an actual version with Google
They
Plus.
they have very usefully tell us on the Play service that the current version varies with device.
Oh,
Thank you for that.
Thanks.
thanks a lot.
All right, Alan, I'm on my Nexus 7.
We will
I'm in
talk
Google
about
Plus.
other things that I love. We will talk about other things that I love about the new Google Play Store later in the show. And Monday on our show, Our Android Week, which appears at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. What was that, Dan?
Okay, how do I'm in my Nexus 7, okay? So
Okay.
I have camera and I have highlights. Do I want like a photo from a post or do I want a photo I've taken
I don't
with
know, Dan.
the shitty camera on the Nexus
why
7?
are you asking me? You make it sound like I actually have used this feature.
Does anyone know? How can we review a feature if none of us have freaking used it or even seen it or know that it actually does exist?
I've used it. I followed the instructions exactly and done it exactly like they say, and I do not either have the update or it just doesn't work.
I see the update. I see an update now that I'm updating. So, I mean,
there's no snow. This is a scam.
I have never seen anybody
vaporware.
have it yet.
This is
So wait, Dan,
vaporware.
you're saying that Google is lying to you?
I'm saying I'm saying it's
We haven't
enhanced
done it.
They're lying to
it's
you.
enhanced interrogation techniques. It's not torture. It's
okay, I got it working. I got it working.
Oh, Michael's got
marketing prowess.
What version? Okay, now which version? How did you get the
I
update?
literally just went to the Play Store and updated.
There's
Okay,
no,
I'll try that.
So let me look at the version.
So hey, you guys go ahead and carry on with the show. I'm gonna update my phone.
by all means.
We would like to
because
take this
getting your
time to
phone
remind
snow
you
is the
that
most
we
important
love
thing.
Google.
Yes. Yeah, we're actually fanboys. Can you imagine if we were a bunch of Apple people haters, Google haters? This is a new
Okay,
thing.
so
This
the
thing on the left.
the build version is 4.2.4.
In which
Too far. Okay.
in which
I don't have that.
on the Nexus 7 or in what?
This is the Nexus 5. I don't know about. the
How do you?
Nexus.
Okay, so I would go to the Play Store to see that.
I'm
And then-
outnumbered here.
In order to do it, all I did was open Google Plus, hit Photos. After you press Photos, I literally picked any photo, lit it again, and says shake. There's your snow.
Okay, a photo
Well,
that
not
you
everywhere.
when you go to photos from camera or highlights from your posts.
I picked one from.
Oh, it popped up just
Highlight.
now in
It's one of
auto
my-
updates.
Google's listening.
It just
Okay,
it
so
just
any other work, even the camera photo works.
yeah. Yeah, it just added it to my updates. It wasn't there this morning, but it's there now on the update.
Yeah, they just started rolling out
It
actually.
just rolled it out
I just
today.
got it now too. Yeah, I
We
just
have been
checked.
great
It wasn't
comments.
there.
See,
Rod.
Google.
They're
Somebody
obviously-
said Google's listening, and
They're
they
watching.
just
Listening to the
gave it
show.
to you.
They were listening to the show.
We have
What a
this
horrific
great comment
nightmare.
from Rod. The sound of people shaking phones. That's gift-worthy.
Yes, yes.
Can I do this? Oh,
There are many potential memes that occur in each program
yeah.
that we do here.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there'll be like a YouTube video on YouTube in a few days of just people shaking their phones, trying to get the Google Plus Snow to work.
Maybe Moritz, he'll never top the one where he had me. I forget what it was. He put a sponge in my hand or something. I forget.
I remember now. Yeah.
He's abusing his 20% free time sometimes. All right, so are we good on the snow?
Yeah.
No.
We'll
Okay.
come back to this after we've all downloaded the app.
Okay.
All right, so next up is Google introduces Plus Post advertising. Advertising has finally come to Google Plus, but not really. What this is the opposite of what we would have anticipated. We all expected that they would eventually have ads in Google Plus proper, but they have not done that. Not to say that they won't in the future. Not to say that that would necessarily be a bad thing.
Whoa. Y'all skip like so much other stuff.
That's the third topic. What the hell are you talking about?
No, the Google Plus update. I mean, the update was way more than just photos and the other things.
Of course it was, but everyone kept talking over me when I tried
I'm
to
sorry.
talk about them.
Pardon me. I'm just kidding about the whole Plus Post thing. Let's
What do you want to do? What do you
continue
want
with
to
the
do?
second portion of our Android app update. Alan,
So, Michael, why don't you tell us about everything else that this app does?
So,
I'm dying of old age.
believe it or not, I know Alan's still waiting for this one, but when you search in the app now, it allows you to search. You search for posts, people, photos, and communities all in one. Before, it did not allow you to do that. So they fixed
Still my
search.
beating heart.
Another thing it did, you can control who can buzz your phone without like getting from like you can clarify who can buzz you on your phone with notifications.
Now that's actually pretty good. Can you? Is it? Since I haven't played with it yet, is it settable by circles? So you actually have a new layer of notifications here.
So you can set it by circles. You can set it by a certain person. You can go that far into it, and to get to it, all you got to do is go to open up Google Plus, You press settings, and under account settings, you'll see your name. You get notifications, and right under ringtone and vibrate, you'll see who can notify me. And it allows you to...
My life is complete.
Do extended circles, public, your circles, only you, or you can pick people and circles. So you can put circles and certain people that may not be in a circle.
I gotta tell you, that might be one of the most brilliant features they have introduced in 2.5 years.
And this feature is so similar to what's already available with who can notify me on the desktop.
Well, except for yes, and
the same thing.
I think they could have done it better, but I think the fact that it's on the mobile, that you're setting how the mobile notifications, it's actually an additional layer of notifications.
Yes, yes.
And I think that's a very reasonable way to do it. I kind of wish you saw those controls on the desktop as well, so that I could, because quite honestly, notifications are going to be getting more and more complicated, and having a better UI to manage them would be great. But I think this is actually I'm really pleased to see this finally.
Another update they put in there was you can explore content by categories. So basically the What's Hot list now has categories to it, where it's like you can do photo, sports, science, blah, blah, blah. There's different categories that you can view now. And the last update was now when you see +1 post in your stream, you'll see something lovely.
You'll see what?
Anyone ever seen it yet?
Well, I guess we don't want. You don't want to do a teaser.
Huh?
Are you afraid you're going to tease something cool?
Gerwin is saying that the additional notification layer was always there.
Yeah, it's the same thing from the desktop. Who can notify you? It's the same thing.
But it's more than just who can notify you. It's which notifications generate noise, and he's saying that was always there.
Yeah, it was.
But previously, all the other notifications would get lost except for the new other notifications.
I'm so lost. You just lost me.
No, Gerwin, I think we're actually talking about something different, which is actually I've now made the next topic, I think.
Yes, what's the next topic?
The next topic is now under Mr. Jingles, there is this everything else field that suddenly shows up. And on the desktop version, it says these are showing up here because your notification settings would otherwise not have shown them. And I've been told that actually on some fields what's showing up in this new section are things that you would have gotten a notification about, but which Google has determined may not be very relevant to you. So it's hiding less relevant stuff. It would be nice if it actually said that's what it's doing. And I think that's what Gerwin may be talking about.
Not that we would know anything about irrelevant stuff.
You know, Dan, if you really want to talk about irrelevant stuff, we can go back to your first topic that you wanted to talk about first.
I don't think we should make light of that.
I'm not meaning to make light of it at all. I'm pointing out that it's not a tech topic. But, you know, it's your show, Dan. Whatever you want to do.
I'm just
trolling
you guys. Go ahead. Continue.
You know, honestly,
I'm
Dan,
enjoying
if you
this.
really want, here we go. Here we go. We can do this.
What are you going to do?
Dan, my policy is let's always do it your way.
There we go. So I've eliminated all of the other tech topics for this week, and we can skip right to how your Google Plus week was. So how was your Google Plus week, Dan?
Alan, please continue.
Okay. So we've gotten some comments. Gerwin points out buzz equals the red number popping up, and that they assume that people don't turn off notification noise. I think, and obviously I haven't played it with it yet, but it sounds like what Michael is saying is that there is now more granular control over the notification noise. So you can get a Mr. Jingles red box without getting the buzz. And does this also show up? I'm assuming it shows up in the notification center, but you won't be getting volume attached to it. But that's a guess.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
I didn't get, at some point, I don't know what I turned off, but I haven't gotten volume for quite some time in the Google Plus app. I must have set something at some point, and it's still obeying that command.
You probably turned off notifications entirely.
Although I still think I get a weird noise if someone sends me a Hangout chat. If it's still called that.
So anyway, so this everything else category. What are does anyone have any opinions on the new everything else notifications?
It has been working wonderfully for me. Because the only thing it puts...
What does that mean, wonderfully?
The only thing it puts in there are people, like, I shouldn't even say, but, I mean, basically people that have circled you, and like if you have, like, 10 people circle you, instead of you seeing that up there, it'll just say that and everything else, and you can click that after you read through, like, the important stuff, and, like, mentions and stuff like that, it'll place everything else in the everything else.
Right, and for that purpose, I like it. That actually seems to make sense.
That's all it does for me.
My concern, though, is that the text that comes up with it says, these people are showing up because your notification settings wouldn't have shown them to you. Change your notification settings.
Okay, I know that, like, if some person you've not or like I see so-and-so added me to his circles in my everything else. What else would pop up there? Some person you never interact with has invited you to join a weird community that you can't pronounce, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
In the notifications? Yeah, I only have it set just for my circles, not for the whole world to notify me.
And I guess mine doesn't do that because I think I have mine set to anyone.
Yeah, I couldn't. Not what the things that I am a curator for landscape photography. So if I had that set for everything, my notifications would be slammed, and I can't do it. I don't know. And there's another thing in the notifications. I think it's kind of glitchy too. Is
notification glitchy? Shocking.
Yeah, let me finish. Shock. It's kind of hit and miss, but I miss it. You know how you can just swipe on your phone and it just goes away? Now, on the desktop, you have to, sometimes after you've read it, okay, yeah, fine. It'll automatically drop down into your previous read. You don't have to do anything. And now you have to hit that X to remove it out of the notifications. I wish it would just drop off.
It doesn't drop off if you look at it?
I just got the everything else feature on desktop, which I don't think I've ever seen before.
It's on desktop.
It's on desktop. I said that it was showing up in both.
Is it when you download it on the phone and it starts appearing on desktop, or
No.
I just randomly rolled out to me?
It just randomly rolled out to you. It rolled out to me on desktop first, like 2 days ago.
Yeah, it's been on the phone forever. For a long time, anyway.
I like the notifications on the phone almost better than desktop, because on desktop, sometimes you click on the thing and you wait, and then you have to go to Gmail to click on Mr. Jingles to get your notifications for Google Plus because they don't open up in Google Plus. It's crazy. Michael continues to eat, never gains weight.
Of course.
Oh, Alex, what are these things on the very top of the screen here with pictures of? There's a whole bunch of pictures on the top of the screen.
Those are anonymous people who are commenting on posts, but if you click on the chat button,
I've never seen that anonymous.
I think I must be the skunk because
those are people in the doc that we use that are not logged in to Drive.
Yeah.
Like I'm logged in, so you'll see my face.
Yeah, I see your face. Yeah.
Sorry.
You're talking
I didn't know what that was.
I don't understand the animal thing. Anonymous aardvark. They're alphabetical.
Chinchilla.
Right?
Anonymous chinchilla.
I don't know who that is.
I guess they borrowed the Android, letter theme.
Okay, I didn't know what it was. I just started seeing it.
They're just random characters. They've been there for like 6 months.
I'm going to make a full circle back to where I was trying to talk. It's like,
go for it, Sheila.
You know how on the desktop, like I said, you can swipe on your phone and it'll goes away. But on the desktop, sometimes it would, after you've looked at it, it'll just fall off into the previous read section. so you don't have to do anything with it. But now it's like you have to hit that X to make it go away, or hit back and then go back to look at your notifications.
I like that. I like that feature.
I wish it would drop off. I wish it would stay that way.
I don't.
See, and I wish that it would stay there for at least a little bit longer, because there are times on the phone that I've accidentally clicked on a post and said, no, wait, that's not the one that I wanted, and gone back, and now in order to find that post again, I now need to go into the ones that you've already read. I can see it working both ways. I would just wish they would be consistent.
I like that feature because and sometimes in the past I've had, like, if I've lost, if something screwed up in the notifications, Alan, if you were sending me a post about something, I'd have to go to your freaking profile and then search to find it.
That would make sense. You mean you would actually have to go to his profile?
It was frustrating. I mean, at some point, like if you'd lose it, I've actually had to go to someone's profile.
That's not so bad.
To try to find that post. Not if you're trying to quickly respond to something and you're late anyway. Not that I would ever be late for something.
No. Anyway, but you guys have a point, but I still like it when for me, it's like, let it drop off. I'll, And
that makes sense, Sheila. Like I said, I can understand your perspective.
Yeah.
It does make sense. I just wish they'd pick one and stick to it.
Yeah, but has that done that with you, though, periodically?
Usually, I'm able to. I just hit escape out, and the ones that that I've already read will clear out.
Yeah, that's what it does. I just hit the back and then go back in. Yeah, so I guess. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we agree on this one.
Next one.
Okay.
And as Dan walks away because the next subject was his.
Okay, so I don't think I put any topics in tonight.
You started talking about this one already.
Right. Okay, so Plus Post ads. Monetization finally comes to Google Plus. Well, it kind of was here anyway, but direct monetization of posts. A lot of us were figuring at some point they would have ads like Facebook does inside your stream. So they've actually done the reverse. What you can do, let's say you are Cadbury and you're having a contest on Google Plus, or let's say you're an organization like the one that had the hangout early this morning with Archbishop Desmond Tutu and His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Anderson Cooper moderating. Let's say that you had that hangout and you wanted to advertise that throughout the Google ad network, not on Google Plus, but on any website that uses AdWords. Now that you can do that, but only select partners can do it. Like I think Cadbury is one of them. Obviously, they have a good relationship with them, Kit Kat. So it's kind of reverse monetization. It's not the direction I thought that they would initially go in. I was expecting them to add ads right in our stream, so which I wouldn't mind necessarily, as long as it wasn't too cluttered, because it's a free service and I expect them to make money from it. So I think this will the stuff they're doing, putting Google Plus on YouTube with the comments, which was not universally praised, and the new improved the button. I don't know if we're going to talk about that or not. The login for third-party websites to log in.
Gee, what makes you think we won't be talking about it, Dan?
Because honest to God, I haven't read the whole list, and you keep adding. So people keep adding stuff as we go, and I'm ADHD, and maybe I did notice and I've forgotten. What were we still talking about? So anyway, this is a Plus Post advertising thing. I'm for it. I think it's going to encourage companies that have contests or interesting content or surveys, that sort of thing, and they do it on Google Plus. Put that out there, and it's just another reason for people to swing by Google Plus and hopefully find something interesting and stick around. As we move from the male sausage factory geek fest / photography parade to a more mainstream, diverse user base. What do you guys think?
I think introing it that way is already doing it a disservice, but okay.
I like it. I like it.
I like it too. I think it's an interesting approach, and I think it's really a clever approach to say, look, advertising itself can be social, and here's how. Instead of kludging things together, which is what companies have been doing, Google's responding to them. And my understanding is they're getting tremendous open rates on it. So it's the plus ads that are out there have been getting a lot more response than traditional ads.
Because they had the ability to embed a post in the past. It wasn't the perfect thing. I mean, it was, but you could, if you just had a website, a WordPress blog, whatever, they introduced a few months ago the ability to actually take a specific Google Plus post and embed it on your site. And if you were logged in and I shared it, you would see, it looked just like a post. You could comment on it, plus one it, the whole deal, right on a third-party website. But this is carries that further, and it sends it to the whole ad network. Now, they're still in beta. I mean, they're still testing with a small number of people. But I think this is genius, and I agree with you that you would see a better response. I wonder how much of that response is just Google Plus people or users would notice it and it would stand out and they might engage more, or if
how
Joe
much
average.
Or how much is just because it's brand new and nobody's seen anything like it before, so it's getting the increased open rate.
I haven't even seen it yet. Do we have an example of a site we could go to see one of these?
No, because I think it's just part of the regular AdSense rotation.
Who else wants to weigh in on this? You've got a site. Oh, Craighton had to leave. Michael, are you going to use this? Do you monetize your? Is it michaelbanks.org, right?
Yeah, I have a WordPress blog on there. I don't know if I'm gonna use it yet. I gotta look into it more.
Actually, you wouldn't have that choice, right? If you have AdWords or AdSense installed, one of these could just pop up, right?
Well, you can. I don't know if this is one of the types that you can limit. You can say that you don't want certain types of ads to show up, but I don't know if this is one of the types that you filter out.
Yeah.
Sorry, Michael. I didn't mean to step on you there.
I don't
Moritz has a complaint. Moritz, are you talking about this graphic, the round thing? I could do the. See, the Android week one's way better. I'll switch to that one just to show you guys. When I do the Android one for the Android show Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. See, this is all set up. That's a much better one. I'd love to get something like this, but the problem is I'm limited because of this thing. I got to do what I should do is you see the square around me. I need to make another one of those. It's a rectangle and put them behind that so anyway, that's obviously way off track. So anyway, go ahead, Alan. Sorry.
No, I wasn't saying anything else, was I?
All right, so none of us hate this. I like it.
No, I think this is a reasonable approach.
That's interesting. I figured there might be someone who thought it was against it.
From one of Moritz's comments again, when you think about it, we already had this the whole time. Look at posts from BMW about a car with a video. Those got shared a lot around Google+, and users were not aware they were doing free advertising. I think users were aware they were doing free advertising.
Oh, sure. The difference, of course, here is that it's outside of Google+.
Yeah.
But I think this is great.
Didn't you have a great advertising moment this week, Dan?
What do you mean?
Okay, you posted something about an advertising fail over on other social networks, and I pointed out how it was actually a success.
Yeah, you were trolling me, but accurately so. What was the thing? I forget. It was it on Facebook?
You said it was on Facebook.
It was this random. I'll try to find it. I post so much. I think
you don't need to try to find it. Just summarize it quickly.
Yeah, it was on Facebook, and it was this thing I don't even understand. And I just thought it was interesting that they would think that I would be interested in any way in that. And then I even went to Wikipedia to try to figure out what it was, and I couldn't figure it out. And I'm not a dumbass. Here we go. Here's the post. This is, I said, I have absolutely no idea what this is. Total algorithm fail. I looked it up out of curiosity, and I still don't understand it. It said, from thermoscientific biology. Apparently this is from Walking Dead or something, which I've never watched and probably won't. Discover I'm not actually as cool as you might think. Discover competitively priced, proven transfection reagents for a wide range of applications. Request your free sample today. And it says reagents, you can efficiently deliver small RNAs or large plasmids into cells using transfection reagents optimized for your specific application. But wait, there's more. And then I just was like, you know, what the hell is this? And then Alan noted, you just shared it for free. Oh. Total algorithm success. It was just one of those my random posts. Not all my posts are Pulitzer Prize winners. But,
really?
Yeah. So anyway, all right. So we actually all do agree that the plus posts, and it's something you know, if you had an important hangout or a post you want to get some traction, you can, you know, spend some money and get it out there. So there. Cool. All right. Next is I have no knowledge of exactly what the next thing is. Has anyone used it? Okay, good.
Yes, I do.
Tell us about the new control panel for Hangouts on Air, Mr. Carey. And tell us, do you do regular Hangouts, and if so, where can people find you and find about that?
Well, we're doing. We did our very first one with this new button yesterday. We do the Navajo language videos. We broadcast to people all over the world how to teach them how to use the Navajo language. So what happened yesterday is, what you do is you I went over to my event page and tried to do a Hangout on Air, and a brand new button was there, and it says, if you click on it, it basically has plan a Hangout, and then it has a trailer, which is really cool. You have a 2 button there. You can start your Hangout, and when you click on the button, it creates an event.
Harold, can I just interrupt you for a second? That's actually not the feature we're talking about right now.
Oh, which one are we talking about?
We're talking about the new, once you're inside a Hangout, there's now the new control panel.
I wouldn't have even known. I wouldn't have even known that he was talking about the wrong thing.
But we will be covering that feature next.
Okay.
So
it all ties in.
Okay, we had 6 people in the event, and what it is on the right-hand side, you have these controls. And what was happening is the people were talking. Well, I didn't want them to, so I can do the slider. I pushed the slider all the way to the left on the people who were talking, and it was really cool. You don't have to mute them. You can just push the sliders all the way to the left-hand side, and you can't hear them. So it works really great. Everybody who comes on has their own personal slider, and the mute button is there, and the video button's there. So you have the video button, the mute button, and the slider for every person.
Well, do they know they've been quieted?
Yes, it actually puts a little note there. It says Harold quieted you.
Oh, really?
Yep.
You've got to give him give him a reason why you shushed him or anything.
Yeah, you can tell him in the chat room if you want to.
Okay. Well, I like that feature.
I used it for the 2 hours. We had a 2-hour hangout, and I used it for the whole 2 hours. It worked great.
Well, that was like volume control in the old.
Yep.
Right?
It's that volume control was only your personal. You are the only one reflected of it, whereas control room, anyone viewing the video is, affected.
Yeah, but it only can be done.
That's a good thing.
It only can be done by the person who starts the Hangout.
The Hangout. That's a cool thing.
It's up there right now, but if you click on it, it won't let you use it.
No, because we're not the owner of the HOA.
Yes, that's right.
So that's a good thing.
Yes, it is a good thing. Now, why don't you tell it? The other feature is that there's now new ways to start Hangouts on Air and some new things that are attached to it. So why don't you tell us about that one, Harold?
Yeah, what's really cool is the thing that I love the most is the trailer. It has a trailer on it now. So what you click on the button, and as soon as you click on the button to start a Hangout on Air, it creates an event. You don't have to go to the event page. Everything's there, and you just put in the time, and so it actually creates that. Then you have a new button there that says trailer. And so what you do is you go over and you create an intro to your event, and you put that in the trailer button. So after you've done both of those things, when you go over and look at it in the stream, when you shared it with somebody, the trailer is there to play. So you see the trailer, and they can watch the trailer, and you can tell them about your event through the trailer. So that's a completely different thing.
Can you do
have a trailer that's on the event the second you create it?
Can you do the trailer first, and then when you're ready to do the HOA,
Yeah, step one is you have to create your trailer because you have to put that trailer. You have to have the YouTube URL of the trailer to put it in there. There's 3 buttons.
But that's optional, right? Just to clarify, the trailer's optional.
You don't have to do the trailer. Okay. You can put a
3
photo
buttons.
in there.
The first button says plan a hangout. The second button says trailer, and the third button says Hangout on what's it called? Question Q&A. So there's 3 buttons now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So you could do 3 things. I mean, you can create a special trailer. Like, for example, today's Remembering Mandela Hangout. They could have done a trailer. I'm Anderson Cooper. Joined us, 7:30 a.m. Eastern time. Or if you have a recurring show like this one, you could. This is not a Hangout on Air. This is YouTube Live. But if it were a Hangout on Air like it used to be, I could do a regular trailer that said, "Hey, join us for a lively, interesting, fun panel where we discuss photography for 4 hours." Friday at 8:30ish Eastern time. Go ahead, Harold.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. So the big difference is it's just, and all of a sudden it popped up on me, and I said, "Whoa!" What was really cool. You don't have to create an event. That's what I love the most about it. It creates an event for you.
Yeah, and that's one thing I did like about it is you create that hangout, and you have to hit that join your own hangout. You don't have to even be in the hangout to create it. So that's a cool feature. You can join it later.
Well, I got to tell you that of all the things that Google Plus has done right, they have really consistently improved the Hangout experience.
The Hangouts, yes.
And I remember from the very beginning, I always thought that was the killer feature. The ability and the only, well, I say that, okay, the Hangouts on Air, the broadcasting version has been consistently improved, except the bit rate is not there yet. That's why I'm using YouTube Live, and I don't have complete control here. Like, I could do different shots like this and put the comments up and screen share and all that stuff really easily. I can't do that with Hangouts on Air. That's why I use YouTube Live. I love Hangouts on Air, but I use open broadcasting software. You could use Wirecast with YouTube Live. And now, I don't know if this is a topic, the YouTube Live. Is. Okay. But I prefer that, so I guess I'll save it for later. But the one thing I miss is the easy discovery of public Hangouts to join and for other people to find you. I used to so love being able to do a Hangout, and this is when I had like 3,000 followers. I could just start a public Hangout. Now they would call it what the hell is it this week? What's it called?
I think it's a Hangout party.
A Hangout party. And I remember one time I had somebody in Libya or like Israel and someone in Saudi Arabia, and they were having it out, but it was a polite, interesting discussion of different views. And there were other folks came in, and it was just, you'd have the random porn guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was so cool, and that's how most of us met.
And you,
Sheila, I met you, and I met Harold, and just random public hangouts. And now,
well, that was through like the Hangout Canopy or the Hangout,
And those,
it wasn't just through Hangout Canopy though. People were there was much more native and organic discovery.
Alan, when we had like 1,000, 2,000 followers early on, we could do a public hangout, and it would fill up like that, and you could meet all sorts of new interesting people.
Yeah.
And now that's broken. It has been broken for over a year, 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, a long time. And that's my biggest regret. That's the biggest thing that I miss.
The
that
problem
they screwed up. That I
here's
wish they would fix.
But here's the thing. No. It's nice that we're romanticizing about it. But you have to remember, back then also, you had people like Amanda Blaine who would do this sort of thing, and she'd get 9 guys who were all stripping joining her hangout.
There was so many complaints. Oh my gosh.
I mean, we'd like to talk about how wonderful it was then, but there were problems. There were big problems. And they put one patch job to solve it, and there were still more problems. So they put another patch job on it, and there were still different problems.
It off.
That's true. That's a fair point.
Public hangouts are still ugly.
There were only 2 or 3 times that I had someone come in, you know, flopping around on camera and stuff.
Well, that's because you're a white male.
Yeah.
Right.
Now with me, you would see I saw way more than what I needed to see.
I swear to God, I'd pay to see your reaction. Some guy coming.
Thanks a lot, Dan.
You're like this librarian type, you know, like.
Dan. I remember.
Code purple.
Oh my God.
Dan,
I can say,
have a
what
question
is
for you.
that? Oh my God. Go ahead, Harold.
Yeah. Me and Mark and Olson were on your second show. Who was on your first show? We were your guest on your second show. I don't remember who was on your very first show.
Christina Trapolino. I actually started this program. It was called McDermott Report, and that's when Alan joined. It was Blog Talk Radio, and it would in the beginning of the show it would say Blog Talk Radio. If you go to my other YouTube channel, if you go to my YouTube channel, Daniel P. McDermott, I can pull one up if you want. I can play like 10 seconds at the beginning.
Well, no, I was just one of your Google Week.
No, you'll probably get a copyright violation.
What's the next topic?
Wait, we're talking about me. What could be bad about?
Okay, well, let's
No,
go
I'm
to the
just
next
kidding.
topic. I just was wondering who your guest was.
Well, I'm
It was
going to say
Christina
one. You can find your video parties now if you go into the Hangout tab. It'll have the Hangouts on air, and it has the video parties.
Are there relevant ones there now?
I don't know yet. I'm going to go look and see if there
So if I go to Hangouts,
go to the Hangouts,
and then I'll
and
click
you'll
on
see there's Hangouts on air
Michael Ellis will be joining us in a bit, I see.
and video parties.
View all, right?
Yeah, like I see a video party that I was invited to, but I won't be joining.
I see mine,
Ever.
and then I see others here.
Oh, good.
None of who, I
Thanks
guess.
for coming in, Craig, because I have to go. My wife's calling me. I'll see you guys.
Craig, we're praising the
Later,
new
Harold.
Hangout Party
Well,
interface.
thanks, Harold.
Craig, you missed all the photos talk.
So I ran him out. I'm
Go
running
ahead.
people out of the show.
Yeah, he
Holy-
said, warn me when Shipp gets here so I can get the hell out of here ASAP. So I'm looking here. I don't know if, yeah, these are, I'm sure very nice people who I've not met yet. Is this all of the, can you guys, okay, I see, I've done
see
this
a
before
bunch
with
of-
Craig. I see quite a few
The Hangouts on air.
that you can join. And I don't know any of these folks, which is fine. That's good. That's how you meet people, right? And
Well, yeah,
I wonder
but-
if this is the same for everyone. Craig, remember we tested this to see when you go to the Hangout party and you say view all. Do we all see the same ones? Is this all the people who are actually in a public Hangout right now on Google Plus, or is this?
Parties aren't.
I don't see if you
I don't know, but Sheila's picture looks pretty good tonight.
Parties aren't public.
Why? Thank
Oh, so
you,
these are
Greg.
people who have.
Got the little HD thing, and it looks really, really clear.
So these are
Thank you.
Michael. These
So
are
do you.
Michael. These are folks who have me in circles and have invited their circles.
Right.
Each
Okay, so
party
that's
should
what
say
that is.
shared privately under it unless it's public.
Yeah, that's those are people that have you in circles.
Well, these say
If it's I saw one that it's private, but I'm in his circle, so I can see it.
almost all of these say shared publicly except for mine.
Really, but see, I don't even see that. I don't even see that in my video parties.
Are you in parties or are you in Hangouts on air?
And these
No,
people
it's video
don't have.
parties.
Okay, this one has me in circles.
What's the next topic?
Yeah, what is? Yeah, these. Okay, they do all have me in circles. I think.
So Michael, what did I miss about the photos?
Oh, you missed a whole hour's worth of photos.
Can
It was only 30 minutes.
Let's
you sum
start
it up
over.
in-
Can we
you
start
sum it
over?
up in 30 seconds?
Sure. There was a calendar feature where you can search for photos
No, Michael, here's the summary. Nifty new features, still horribly broken.
What about the other photos? You can shake your Android. Oh yeah, Craig.
Craig won't care.
I'll tell you what, I'm still liking the animated GIFs.
They made a thing where your photos create snow when you shake it on the Google Plus app.
I got a snow one the other day down here in Sarasota. One of the photos I took, and it had some of the Chick-fil-A cows in it. You know, people dressed like cows. And I guess there was enough white in the picture that it thought there was snow, and so it created snow on it.
Right. The neat thing about the Android app is that now, even if there isn't enough white to make it look like it's snow, you can make it look like it's snowing.
Just by shaking it, huh?
Just by shaking it. So that's not actually an auto awesome, but it's still awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Here's a question for you.
I could spend hours just
Where does
making
the
my
United
photos
States get
snow.
most of its energy?
It's all I do now.
Is it Africa? The Middle East?
Yes, we know. That's why you're
Canada?
late.
Or the U.S.?
Yeah, I'm on the can.
Did you all start late
snowing
tonight?
on
The
my
answer
photos.
is-
You sound shocked, Craig.
Okay,
US.
so seriously.
So the next item,
Okay, next up
Most
is
of America's
this,
energy comes from right here at
more
home.
about Hangouts.
oh, the
Take
event
the energy
scheduler,
quiz.
No, we
the
just
button
covered that
thing,
one.
the
Lives
Hangout
here.
button.
The Hangout button.
Yeah, Gary Levin, Dr. Mr. MD, did this on his medical blog, / conservative news website.
First, we were just sitting there
Um,
in class having a
And
discussion.
you have a Hangout
I can't
button.
remember about
It just
what.
says
And
Hangouts.
then
I guess
we heard gunshots.
you can start a
1, 2,
Hangout.
3, and everyone just looked at each other.
I could
and we
see
kinda
applications
knew
here
that
for
it
a
was
tech
real.
support site.
I don't know. The lights went off.
You know, like
before
when
I
it
knew
says like
we
start
were
a
all
chat with
scrambling
us,
to the back
or
of the classroom.
if you
We
have a
got there
question
really
about a
quickly.
product,
We all got there. I
live
think within
chat.
5
Now
or 10
you can use a
seconds.
Hangout for that.
There were
completely
more
free.
gunshots happening.
And that
they
sort of
stopped,
feature has been available
and I
for
heard
a
a
year and
woman
a half. I have a
screaming,
YouTube video about how to do
and
it.
then I heard
But
a
what's
man
different
screaming,
about it
he went
now?
that way, he went that way.
There's a lot of things different about
And then
it.
just a
The
lot of
first is that
commotion,
now you're
as well as
actually,
a lot of
it
silence
used
in
to
our
be
classroom. Everyone was so
that
scared.
when you started to hang out,
Every
you
girl in
could
the
select
classroom was
whether you
crying.
wanted a hangout or a hangout
I
on
was
air.
just freaking out.
When
I
they
don't know.
changed how you start either of those, they kind of broke it. So now this button will let you start a hangout, or you have different buttons. One will start a hangout, another one will start a hangout on air. So you have different types of buttons to do different things. Second is that with the Control Room app, it broke the ability to automatically start a hangout with an app from this button. So now, not only can you start it, can you start a Hangout app automatically, you can start more than one, and you can require that everyone else who joins the Hangout automatically will have this app started. So this is this is great for, as you pointed out, help desk-like features. Those sorts of things are great. We saw recently that there was a shop in a Hangout type thing that was run by, I already forgot who ran it. Those sorts of things are now possible for everyone.
Can I ask you a question?
We have one of the things I'm most excited to see are that people are going to start using this feature to launch game rooms, and I think that's a wonderful application for it.
Or their own personal help outs.
Yeah.
What about this, Alan? It'd be neat if, let's say you were in a forum about whatever, car fix-it, cooking, games, whatever kind of community forum type thing. It'd be neat to know kind of like almost like a group chat thing, like 6 people are currently hanging out in the chat room. Kind of old school, but if you did it via Hangout, you can start a Hangout. But is there a way to say, like, you know, if I went to the JavaScript,
this is one of the beauties of this, is that yes, there is, because when people join the Hangout via this way, you can run an app, and that app can keep track of how many people are in the Hangout and report it back to the website.
Okay, so I could tell Michael and Alan are currently hanging out in the JavaScript forum website, you know, JavaScriptforum.com.
It does not happen automatically, but certainly a Hangout app can be written to do that.
Yes.
So this is a cool. It's going to get cooler. So in other words,
right? That sort of thing again.
Guys like you and Gerwin are going to come up with neat, innovative, cool things like that.
Yes, we did a year and a half ago, and nobody really cared.
The
video is popular. Go ahead, Michael. I'm sorry.
Another neat thing is you can like set the language automatically through like the code. You can set the topic. I mean, you can really customize your own button.
You would set it based on the person landing on the web page's language, or you would set it for whatever you wanted.
But the point is that the button has parameters, so that you can start a Hangout that is marked as being a
this week. Hangout.
So you guys don't really even know the possibilities of this. You're still thinking about it, mulling it over. This is going to be really cool 3 months from now. As it progresses.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I've got a lot of ideas about how it can be incredible and useful, but nobody's ever listened to me about them. So
you have a 4-hour platform every week.
To give you an example, Dan, excuse me, Alan, would this be a possibility? You could put these on your websites down there, your community websites, frederickcounty.com, etc., and people could click on that, and it would just immediately start a Hangout with you. And then you could answer any questions about the site and help them out and all those kinds of things.
As Michael pointed out, and he's nodding, this really can be used to create your own version of helpouts.
Could it? And it could, but there's a way you could create an app. It's not built in, but you guys could create an app where, say, 3 or 4 people are on Frederick.com at a given time and are interested in hanging out. They would see like Craig Shipp and Dan McDermott and Alan Firstenberg are currently hanging out.
You can track the person in it, but you can say 3 people in here.
And then would there be any way to know who those 3 people are before you enter and are embarrassed and want to leave?
Yes. If you write the app that way, yes.
Yeah, I could see that as almost being able to, is it a powerful tool to build up your own community website? Or
you might think so, Dan, but Google Plus tried that once and it didn't work very well.
Yeah, but that's before they, there's a common theme here we've seen, Alan, in my opinion. The biggest push, the theme is they are force feeding Google Plus. The biggest push was with YouTube Live, with YouTube comments, and now we're seeing the improved button. We're seeing the ability to put ads, which if you click on them, it takes you to Google Plus. We're seeing Google finally flexing its muscle and its footprint, and I'm for it. Because the UI initially was
YouTube. I'm getting more YouTube subscribers. I can tell you that. I'm picking up YouTube subscribers.
Yeah, I am
more rapidly.
I am as well. Especially you, Craig. I could see because my topics are more niche. Well, yours are too, but they're super niche and super popular among the niche. In other words, like you'll do a watch review that might get 50,000 views, or
and also sort of recently I've had a lot of stuff with Audrey on there, so that could definitely be it as well.
That could be a factor.
Just saying.
You look a little disheveled from your photo shoot today. No, I'm just kidding. He's probably playing tennis. So yeah, but I have seen that, Alan. I mean, they've definitely the biggest muscle flexing was when they said, "Okay, YouTube, you comment cesspool you. We're going to force feed Google Plus on you," and I remember when it first happened, my prediction was there would be about 5-6 days. There'd be 3 days of dramatic outrage from the trolls and the 12-year-old kids and the people who live in their parents' basement with their Star Trek figurines, celebrating their virginity, commenting and trolling everyone on YouTube.
Which is probably 90% of the YouTube users.
Yes. And then there would be a week of funny videos and commentary talking about that as everyone rewrites the same post to get clicks. And then it would die down, and now I don't hear anything except an occasional reference to the previous outrage. Because the fact is, it's better. And we knew it would be better because we're from the Google Plus perspective, right? So we're the medicine, and they were the, walking people in need of medicine. And so they're pissed off, and we're like, thank God. And so our perspective is different, obviously, but we knew what was going to happen. I mean, once you actually are force-fed this, it's pretty cool. But all those people who came in July and set up a page, maybe they put a profile pic up, maybe they did 1 or 2 posts in July of 2011 and then left and never came back. Now they're coming back. And we're seeing a big push like that.
I don't know about that. I don't think they're using Google Plus. I think they might be using.
It's
YouTube.
incremental. It's like these buttons. It's like you'll see an ad for Cadbury, and in order to participate in the contest, you have to go to Google Plus to do it. You in order to comment on a YouTube video. So they're kind of being slowly brought back in the fold, and then eventually they're going, you know, as they keep improving the product and adding more features. I think it's a long-term thing, but I think we're going to see folks back, not overnight, but it's going up. It's not going down.
I don't know about that. We'll see. I think we're still losing people as fast as we can lose them. I
think not. I think we're gonna. I think when they forced everyone to become active in order to comment on a YouTube video, because I don't see fewer comments on YouTube. I think that we're gonna see. I think it's a net plus and a net gain.
Yeah, but see, the fact that somebody comments on YouTube and then it goes into their Google Plus stream or something like that, I don't really count that as them being active on Google Plus.
But when they're also they are. It's the same thing now. If you comment on a YouTube video, you are commenting on Google Plus and vice versa.
Yeah, but my point is that's not the same as somebody coming to Google Plus and choosing to use Google Plus like they would be using Facebook or whatever.
It's incremental. If you're a YouTuber, hang on one second, Alan, hold your thought. If you're a YouTuber and you post your video up, all of a sudden you're getting comments, someone shares it on Google Plus, other Google Plus people who aren't even going to the YouTube landing page or watching on Google Plus, they comment on that share. That shows up as a comment on your YouTube video. And then all of a sudden you discover a couple interesting people and you want to engage them in conversation. All of a sudden you're kind of like, without realizing it, you're engaging on Google Plus and you get sucked in. That's what I'm saying. It's incremental. It's not like 5 billion people overnight came to Google Plus and became active. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that in the long term, this is a good thing. It is incremental and it's significant, and I think that it's huge for the long-term strategy. Go ahead, Alan. And this all gets to what they said. Google Plus is the social layer to bind all the products, and they're just simply coming through on what they said they would do in 2011. And they can bitch all they want, but it's not like nobody snuck up on anybody here. They announced this is what they're doing, and they're finally starting to do it with YouTube. They did it with Gmail, etc.
I mean, I think Craig's point, and Craig has a valid point, that it's not necessarily translating to more people showing up on the Google Plus stream. And my answer to that is, so what? The Google Plus stream is not the be-all and end-all of social. Facebook's design, just because Facebook didn't, doesn't mean that that's the best way to do social. It isn't. It's one very, very tiny way to do social. And I think what we're seeing now is Google is finally reaching out and saying, hey, we have this concept of social, and we're going to use that concept and adapt parts of it to YouTube where it makes sense. And we're going to adapt parts of it to advertising where it makes sense. And we're going to adapt parts of it to Google Play, except we're going to screw it up there. So, and we'll be talking about that later too.
But they own video. YouTube is the king. They own mail.
I love the integration that G Plus and YouTube has.
Because you come from our side of the fence, right?
I do. But what's kind of funny is that I've seen people that are been plussing my YouTube, that I've commented on it, and it shows up on my G Plus stream. Well, I've checked out the people who give me a +1. It's basically a thumbs up because they don't even have me circled, so that's a good thing.
Google Plus has really, it is continuing that trend to see that it's a social layer on all the Google products. And Google Plus learned that social game that Alan was talking about, that they learned the biggest mistake. Google Plus, Facebook learned it first, but they learned that in order to continue to thrive in a social network, you have to become more than just that social network. You have to become a platform to branch out other things to hook people into that social network, keep it relevant. And it's doing just that with the button, with the Hangout. Hangout is, it's becoming so much of a platform where it is really spreading in so many ways where it might not seem like a lot of people are getting there, but I guarantee you, with time, a lot of people will start. Numbers will continue to rise.
To Michael's point, this comment from Andrew Jones McGuire, he had a funny comment. He said, I was late getting here. Can you not go back to the beginning?
We won't.
But
Promise.
he said,
we won't.
No, we got to recap the Sreek. We got to recap the Sreek. What are you talking about?
He disagreed. Yeah, well, let's start at the beginning. There's new photo features, organizational features. Don't leave anything out, Alan. I'm just kidding. Except it wasn't. He's disagreeing with me. He says it wasn't force-fed on YouTube. They said years ago they were going to fix YouTube comments. Correct. It was force-fed on YouTube. They were pissed. Those little teeny bopper troll assholes. And I'm for it because it was a cesspool. And they did announce it 2 years ago, but it wasn't like voluntary. I think it was force-fed, and I'm fine because they're flexing their muscle. They're using their footprint.
Here's
No,
the
They're
I'm
saying,
glad.
look, you're going to play in our garden.
I think force feeding it is fine. I think part of the problems is that the way they did it is they did a bad job in some ways.
How
in
could
the
you
force
possibly
feeding.
have lessened the negative PR impact for the people who are just absolutely going to hate you? And these are not normal human beings. These are YouTube commenters, okay?
Yeah,
these
but
are not
here's the thing.
rational people
Here's
you could
the
have
thing,
a
Dan.
debate with. These are like
Dan.
spoiled brat kids, and and you just tell them this is the deal. If you don't like it, tough, because there's nowhere else to go. And
There's two things that
you
could
can
have.
go to Blip TV.
Can Dan hear us at all when we talk?
Yeah.
No.
There's two things they could have. There's two major things that they could have done. The first is they could have made the transition process a lot easier. As it was, people got horribly confused about, wait a minute, am I linking my YouTube to a Google Plus account? How do I keep my name? Am I making a page? Am I making a profile? What's the difference? Who cares? Why should I care? That was a horribly complex
And
problem.
Alan, for a couple of days, you couldn't even reply to the comments. And even now, some of the comments, for some reason, I can't reply to, and some of them I can. I always get an email for every comment, right?
So that was.
But they've
one.
always had that problem, Alan. I mean, that's the reason they all came in July of 11 and left, because they couldn't figure out what the hell was going on.
Right,
and
but
they
I'm
haven't
saying
totally fixed that yet.
Well, and they made it worse because by forcing all of these YouTube accounts into Google Plus accounts, they force people to do it and then create a very botched conversion process. So that was problem one. What was problem two?
Problem two is the comments.
The second thing they could have done is, if they were smart, they wouldn't have said, "Oh, we're making all your accounts Google Plus accounts." They would have just done it.
Well, they had to
nobody would have known
acknowledge it. I mean, when you have a billion people
Why?
pissed off at you, you've got to like issue a statement.
Why
Marissa
acknowledge
Meyer
it?
just issued a statement about the Yahoo Mail.
No. I disagree, Dan. Why acknowledge it at all? They should have just converted every single YouTube account into a Google Plus profile. Not told, a Google Plus page.
In other words, like they did with local.
Let me finish, Dan. Not told anyone they were doing it. Not told anyone how to do it. Not said anything about any damn thing. Just done it. Turned the new comments on, and nobody would have noticed that they were suddenly showing up on Google Plus, except those of us who were on Google Plus. Instead, they had to say,
That's a perfect point. That's a perfect point.
They said, we're making you use Google Plus comments. And that got all of the YouTubers pissed off. If they had just done it and said, this is a new commenting system.
You think pure
If
semantics?
said this is a Google Plus commenting system, nobody would have cared.
You think it's just
That's right.
semantics?
Yes.
So they should have done what they did with local, where they just took every business that was on maps or whatever and created a page for them.
Yep.
And let them opt in if they wanted to take over that
Yep.
control, but it's there anyway.
Right.
And
Yep.
Right.
all of those
Yeah.
Google Map comments about Joe's Pizzeria are now comments on the local page.
Yep.
Right.
Alan is exactly right, because the people don't care. They just want their YouTube to work, and they just want the comments to work, and that's it. They don't want hassles. And like for me, for example, if I could just have continued to click on the little reply thing in the email notice to reply to people's comments, and if that would have worked, I would have had no problem at all. That was the only gripe I had,
Right.
and
Even
not
if
for a couple of days.
even if they had just said, this is a whole new commenting system and there are major changes, and not said one word about Google Plus,
That would have been better.
Without a doubt, people would have been pissed. Without a doubt, people would have been pissed, and there would have been bugs, and they would have been confused. But they wouldn't have turned around and said, Google is forcing us into Google+. They would have just said...
They would have just said the commenting isn't working right.
The commenting isn't working, and that it will be fixed.
Yeah.
Like Yahoo said, we're doing system maintenance for 2 days on their mail.
That's right.
So you're saying that Google Plus is a derogatory term?
Yes.
Especially when they don't
because
know
it's been,
about it.
it's been a total failure. I mean, it's a joke. It's a laughing stock.
I don't think it's been a total failure, but it has been a joke.
Google, why do you
It's
say
a laughing
Google
stock.
Why? Why do you say Google Plus is a laughing stock?
It's only the second largest social networking.
Because everybody came, and then it was a disaster, and they all left, and it's a ghost town.
Well,
so Google's lying with their active users. They're still lying.
No,
Absolutely, they're lying.
I'm putting a troll slide up.
Here's the thing.
There's no way. I mean, I post the exact same content on Facebook and on Google Plus, and I get no activity at all. Zero, zilch, nothing on Google Plus, and they go crazy on Facebook. They go freaking crazy on Facebook, and on YouTube they go freaking crazy, and nothing happens on Google Plus.
Didn't you say you're making more money on YouTube because of Google Plus?
Yes, but it's happening on YouTube, not on
the reason why
there's no difference
is, you know, I don't get much interaction on my posts either, Craig, so just hush.
Yeah, but do you get interaction on Facebook?
I do.
I get far more.
So you get more on Facebook?
But not necessarily.
Well, but see,
It
I
all
do.
depends.
I get
I
probably
got a
100
good
times
one for you,
more action on Facebook.
I got some homework for you, Craig. This is what I want you to do. I want you to upload 2 photos. Upload one on Google Plus.
He's done it, Michael.
No. I want you to look at the views.
Yep.
Not the interaction. Not the interaction.
Please. Michael. Look. We know that is not a real metric. I mean, it may appear in someone's stream or something, but I don't think that many people are actually looking at it. I don't know.
You know what? I'm betting you that it is, because it will flow through their stream, but they don't say anything. They don't, because that happens with me. I see a lot of photos, and I don't.
Well, the only way I can really measure
interaction, like it used to.
Comments and shares and things like that.
Stream does not flow like it used to. The stream doesn't flow like it used to.
Let me know. I want to get some comments in here. We got some good comments.
Yeah, Kevin's got a good one. Let me take his quickly to answer it. He says I'm wrong. There's no way on earth you can convert hundreds of millions of YouTube accounts and make a Google Plus page for them without incident. You have a good point there. But I think if they had...
How would they have known?
Let me finish. Well, let me finish. I think that if they had spun it as at the same time that they changed all of the channel artwork for channels, if they had made that a page at the same time and integrated the two and kind of made them the same sort of thing, I think people would have been fine with it. The fact that a page has different graphics, different layout, different controls, different garbage than a channel does, I think is what introduced part of the problem.
He adds, Kevin Bryan, if Google made a page for me on my YouTube channel and didn't tell me in advance, I'd be hopping mad. Either way, let me add a major feature like that on my own, or let me not use the service. That's basically the choice. And in any case, look at how many people complain when Facebook changes, threaten to leave when a week later no one cares. That's what I said from the beginning. I said they're all bitching and moaning, and it's fun, and we got a ton of views and comments and all the trolls. I think I was accused of being on the take.
No, but here's the problem, though, Dan. Here's the problem, though, Dan. Yeah, they threatened to leave. A week later, nobody cares, but that's for YouTube. Google Plus, however, has suffered yet another pile-on of negative publicity.
I think, you know what? The government shut down. Everyone was outraged, and then it was over, and a week later, nobody remembered. They were all talking about Obamacare. Same thing. Nobody cares about the YouTube comments now. Nobody's talking about
YouTube comments, but people still care about the fact that Google Plus is a negative light. Let me tell you why I even think that.
Facebook is a negative light, though.
Yeah, but Facebook is put in a negative light, and they get over it. The problem is Google
Plus is happening. It's just happening a lot.
They've already got it. Google Plus is put in a negative light, and people will keep on dismissing it.
But things change. I mean, when CNN launched, it was called the Chicken Noodle Network. It was a laughing stock. When the United States was formed,
what's the point here?
No, it's not. I mean, it's the ratings suck, but they're gonna fix it. They got that guy who did the Today Show. What's his face? Zucker, running it. He's gonna fix stuff, and they're gonna do more Anthony. You're gonna see more Anthony Bourdain and less reading tweets from morons on CNN. But this is gonna pass. This too shall pass, and I don't think there's a permanent negative association.
It's great saying
with
that this too shall pass, but when will Google actually be put in a positive light? Because they haven't done it in 2.5 years.
It's
a red-headed stepchild. They don't care about Google Plus.
It's a long-term strategy
whatsoever.
There's no rush.
Google Plus is in the back room. You know, it is nothing to them.
People never even
care about Google Plus.
After year 2, people never heard of Facebook.
People, what about Facebook?
After year 2, no one knew what Facebook was.
What do you mean?
He's saying Facebook took like 3 years to get going. Of course, it was a closed ecosystem at first, right? You had to initially have a Harvard EDU, and then you had to have an Ivy League EDU, and then they expanded, and then they went public. And then it was probably at least a year before it really got traction.
Twitter as well. Twitter took even longer.
So, once again, I'm right.
The problem is they were very aggressive. Facebook was very aggressive in growing everything.
Google Plus is not aggressive in growing?
No,
it had the freaking highest number ever.
They just forced 1 billion YouTube users to switch to Google Plus, and they had
none of those people are doing anything on Google Plus.
But they
don't care about Google Plus.
They are. They're just not doing it voluntarily. Every time
Craig, here's the thing. They are doing stuff on Google Plus.
They just don't know
They don't notice it. They're not doing stuff on what we would call the Google Plus stream, but who the freak cares? The stream is going to die someday. The stream is a horrible, horrible concept.
Okay, so if you want to say that every time somebody comments on YouTube and then somebody replies on YouTube and somebody shares a YouTube video, that's activity on Google Plus, then you're right. Google Plus is the bomb.
I'm saying that is
rocking and rolling.
Craig, here's what I'm saying. I'm saying that is a Google social activity.
Platform.
Yeah, okay. If you
Google Plus and it's not a separate island anymore, Craig. That's the point. Google Plus is not a separate destination anymore. It's not just that.
If you want to keep using the ancient way of thinking, you know how you always like trashing the big media networks because they're so far behind the times? Facebook is so far behind the times that you still think that a stream is the hip.
No, it's not the stream. It's not. That's not what makes Facebook work. What makes Facebook work is that I can actually connect with people. I can actually share information with people. I can actually post something, and then a whole bunch of people that are related to that content.
How do they get that content, though? They get that content.
And it really works. It freaking works, okay? This doesn't work. It just doesn't freaking work.
It does freaking work.
Craig, it depends what you're doing. It depends what you're doing.
It doesn't work.
If you are in a local community, and that can be geographically local, as in your case with Frederick, Maryland, or local in terms of a common interest, like Harold, Carey, and the Navajo people. In that case, Facebook's very effective. In my situation, I get tons of interaction on my Google Plus posts, and not much on Facebook. If I post something local on Facebook, like if there's a fire on Skyline Drive in the mountains here, then that will get a lot of traction. But not that much, maybe 100 things. But if I post something on Google Plus, I'll regularly get in the tens of +1s, shares, comments, right? Because it all depends what you're posting about. Mm-hmm. And on Facebook, I've got 1,000-something friends, quote-unquote friends, plus I've got subscribers, right, that aren't friends, but they follow my posts. And I post everything public. And I might get, I get likes and stuff.
But you're posting like news content, news stories and stuff like that.
That's my point. It depends what you post.
People can get anywhere. I mean, that's not social. Social is a photograph of somebody at a party, right? And then their friends sharing it.
Social.
That's social. Sharing a freaking news story that people can get anywhere else anyway, I mean, that's not freaking social.
That's what Twitter is built on.
Social.
That's what Twitter is built freaking
Twitter isn't social. Twitter is a freaking microblog.
Twitter isn't
It's not a
social.
social network.
Twitter's a news
Heck
service.
no, it's a microblog.
Oh,
You know
you know what
And I
social
don't agree. I mean, you can have a social is whatever you socializing with people about topics of mutual interest. My main interest
People
is
don't
news.
socialize on
Breaking
Twitter.
news. Breaking news. Twitter is not social. Holy
No,
fuck.
it's
Oh,
not.
the
It's a
hell they don't,
microblog.
Craig. You don't even know what
It's
the hell
a
you're talking
microblogging
about.
site is what it is.
Just
Oh my
because
God.
you're not into being sociable on Twitter, that doesn't mean others aren't. There's all
Twitter is
kinds
not
of
social.
You
interaction.
can be sociable on it, but it's a microblogging site. That's what
Oh
it
my
is.
God.
It is not a
Twitter is
social
not
network. It's not
I've heard
designed
it
to
all.
be a social
Facebook, Google
network.
Plus, and Twitter are all blogging platforms and social platforms.
Oh my gosh, Twitter's not social.
No, heck no, it's not.
Of course,
Oh
I
my-
see back and forth.
Oh my goodness.
That's a
Instagram-
communication. Just because you're communicating with somebody,
Hey,
that doesn't mean
Craig,
it's social.
Craig, is Instagram social?
It can be.
Social simply
a-
means you can
You're sharing
interact.
photos and you're interacting with the photos. I mean, that's very social, right?
No, social is far more than just sharing crap.
It's
If that was
interacting
true,
with
Twitter would be
people. It's
ultimate
interacting
It's
with
interacting
people.
with people about things that they care about. They don't give a rat's rear end about the news stories that Dan shares. They don't care about that crap. They care about a photo of them at the party that they were at last night.
They care
That's
about
what
it
they
more.
care about.
They care about it more, but they still care about it. Just like when
Yeah,
Paul
Craig,
Walker-
you're like in 19.
just like when
I don't know
Paul
what
Walker
planet
died.
you're on. You're not even in a decade on this planet. I get tons and tons of people who comment on my stuff.
Just
And,
like when Paul
and they'll
Walker
share
died.
it. You know, I mean, I could have like a 10. I mean, I probably had, I don't know, 20 shares today, and
You
lots
just
and lots
said
of
not on
comments. People
Facebook.
arguing back and forth.
You just said not on Facebook.
Just like when Paul Walker died,
check.
it was
You're
talked
right.
about on Google Plus. It was talked about on Twitter. Paul Walker's Twitter freaking tweeted, Facebook, everywhere. None of that social though. Yes, they care about it more
They're
when it's
just
about
sharing
them.
information. They're just sharing. They're
That's
sharing
not social.
information.
Sharing information is not social.
Well, I mean, you could call that social.
Oh, that's social.
But it's not. It's not to the extent of what Facebook does.
No,
They're not even close.
Kevin's got a great quote here. I love this from Kevin. Craig, you're evaluating Google Plus on Facebook terms, but that's not how Google is using it. Google Plus is going for the long game. They want to integrate social into their many services insidiously.
Thank you, Kevin Bryan. I
Well,
agree
we'll
they're
see if
different, and
they're-
that was
if
my
they're able
original
to pull
point,
that off.
Craig.
We'll see if they're able to pull that off, but I
They're
don't
pulling it
have
off.
evidence whatsoever that they're doing it, and I
Sure,
don't
you have
think
evidence that they're doing it. You just said your YouTube.
I think it's going down the freaking tubes, and you heard it here first.
Oh my God,
I
Craig.
think it's going down the freaking tubes.
The only way it goes down the tubes.
Craig
the
and
only
Alan.
way- The only way it freaking goes down the tubes if all the Google products just die. That means there would be no more Google Plus.
All right, listen. Let me do this.
Right,
Okay, let me look at. I'm going to tell you my notifications.
Okay.
Hang on.
Stop.
Go, Sheila.
Stop it, Craig. Stop it.
She got the.
This ain't well, I'm gonna go like this. Stop it.
She's going to come kick. You're going to be the only person to ever have his ass kicked by Sheila DuBois. She's literally going to go to Maryland or Florida, I guess.
I'm not the only one that says mute
I've made
you.
my points. I don't
Okay,
need to
listen, real quick. Here's what I got on Facebook. I've got so-and-so likes one of my pages. 2 people like my link. Sprint preparing a bid for T-Mobile US. 1 local person, 1 person whose name I can't pronounce. Probably someone, I'm guessing in India or Pakistan, because I've lived in both countries, so I have followers from there. 1 guy likes my photo of the security page that I posted from the website cache of the school that got shot today. Someone likes a page. Someone likes a page. Someone likes my link on the season 2 trailer for House of Cards. Local person. Someone commented thanking me for that trailer. Someone likes my link. Watch this 5-year-old sign for her deaf parents. That video. Someone wants me to play some stupid game.
What are you getting at?
I'm
on Facebook. I'm looking at my current. I had 13 notifications on Facebook, most of which were about the quote-unquote bullshit news stuff I post.
I'm going to let
As Craig would
Michael
so
Ellis take
eloquently put
over
it.
for me. I'm going to let. I don't think I said bullshit, but
I added that for dramatic effect.
That does fit.
Are you
But
leaving?
Michael, I'm going to let you take over for me because they kind of beat me up a little bit on this. But My premise is that Google Plus is shit, and it's going down the tubes. And their premise is it's kicking Facebook and all the other social networks' asses. So
that's not.
I'll let you take over.
That's
on
exactly
it,
what we said.
That should be easy for you to knock that one out of the park.
Well, I hate to tell you, but I don't side with either one of those positions.
Yeah, that's a perfect characterization of the previous conversation.
Right, I'm sure it is, because Craig's always equal, fair and balanced, like, normal.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's not dying, Craig. I'm afraid you're wrong. But it's not ready to say, nobody should be ready to say it's kicking anyone's ass either. But it is doing pretty well. It seems to be growing. It depends on what numbers you can trust. But from my perspective, it seems like it's growing.
I go back to what I said. Alan has heard me say this a million times. Twitter is where I get my news.
Is Sreek gonna win?
And Facebook is where I find out what time I have to show up for Thanksgiving dinner. And Google Plus is where I meet new people who share my interests. And all three have an important role.
Yeah,
no one's going to displace anybody. If anyone's trying to beat Twitter at their game, you're not going to beat McDonald's at French fries. You're not going to beat Twitter at quick news delivery.
Can you expand on why you think it's growing?
Well, of course, I don't have any statistics, so I'm only going by my own experience. But I really see growth in my follower count, which I don't quite understand because there's so tiny little bit of interaction from the people that add me.
Probably from your page, right? Because you were a recommended page.
No,
foreign language page.
No, that's a completely different set of numbers. That's growing like wildfire. I mean, that's crazy. But
can I just interject for a second and ask Craig a question?
Sure.
Craig, how do you reconcile the following two statements of yours? One is that Google Plus as a social network is collapsing, and two, that the commenting system for YouTube has boosted the number of views and boosted the amount of money you've made from them.
Amen.
I think that well, first of all, the comments, I don't know that I'm getting more comments now than I was before. I am having some problems replying to some of the comments, but most of them are working pretty good. But I don't know that I'm getting more comments than I was before. I know I'm getting more revenue, but the revenue spike kind of started before the changeover, and then it kind of continued. So it might not be related. I'm not sure.
They usually roll things out to test them before they roll it out to the public. So I mean, you might have had it and not even known it.
So and now it's leveled off. It went up. It spiked up. It went up, and pretty much doubled. The monthly revenue was about $250 a month, and now it's a little over $500 a month.
That's a pretty big change.
And it doubled. And so, but now it's leveled off for like the last couple of weeks. It's kind of just staying where it is. So it hasn't continued that trajectory. But my subscribers have picked up. But again, that very well could be. I have a lot of content recently starring Audrey Scherer, and she's very popular. So, I mean, it might not be. It might be totally unrelated to any of the things that Google Plus has done.
Well, also, Craig, and then I'll shut up for a sec, you guys. Most of the stuff you've historically posted is about your local community, which clearly would do very well on Facebook versus here. Frederick, Maryland, and Sarasota, Florida.
Why, Dan? Why? I mean, that's very social.
Because all of your
followers. If I go out and I cover an event and I take pictures of 150 people at that event, and I share all those pictures, I mean, that can't be more social. They're all at an event. They're socializing at this event.
Yeah,
they're participating in the event. They're
the discovery's better on Facebook.
That can't be more social. How the hell can that be more social?
Let me finish, Craig.
Why would it get more activity on Facebook than it does on Google Plus?
Is your sugar low?
Answer me that question.
I can answer that question.
You all make no sense. You all make no sense at all. Sreek, can you please come in on this?
Why do you have to yell?
Sreek, can you come in on this?
Why do you have to yell, Craig?
My sentence, Craig?
I'm not going to yell anymore. Sreek, come on in.
What's the question again?
Can I finish my sentence, Craig? What I'm saying is you've, for years, built up thousands of local followers in Frederick, Maryland, and Sarasota, more so in Frederick than in Sarasota, and they follow you specifically. And a lot of these events, you go to regularly. And clearly Facebook is better at discovery as far as the tagging and people, for local stuff. Oh, look, my sister's in this, and then
I think Craig has a good question. Why is Facebook better? Because it's not intuitively obvious to me why that's so.
No,
it seems to be to me.
Better, but it is.
If I put up, if I did if the main, if there's the Main Street Christmas parade or whatever it is, and I did a bunch of photos, and I posted that on Facebook, I would get tons of traction on Facebook compared to Google+. It's because I post things of a general interest, news and things like that, because that's what my interest is. That are not necessarily regional or local, they're national or world.
Here's the
I
thing,
get more
Dan,
traction on Google+. It all depends what you're posting about.
Well, it depends on more than that. Because I've posted local stuff to both Google+ and to Facebook, and I get more traction on Google+.
I can tell you why.
And that's not because I have more local people reacting. Not because I have more local people on Google+ than I do on Facebook. It's because I have almost no local people on either one, and the people who follow me on Google+ are still interested in it anyway.
I can sum up most of these reasons why. One, like Dan said, Craig has built up his following on Facebook in a local manner, in a local mindset. He has posted a lot of local content that relates to his local following. Now, Facebook is better at
content on Google.
I can't even finish that statement.
I post the same content on both places, Michael.
But I'm saying your following primarily on Facebook are those local people.
And Michael, Facebook is good at social. There's no denying that. Facebook, that's their one-trick pony, social. Google's one-trick pony is, well, they have several. I mean, they've purchased major properties. But Google's strength is search. I mean, if you had to say what's their big thing, it's search. And then, of course, there's Gmail, there's YouTube.
That's the point I've been trying to make, and you've been arguing against it.
No, because you're condemning. I'm saying that
Google's
that long game is going to work.
Social and that Google Plus sucks horse shit. Is what I'm saying, and you're trying to argue against that.
Well, I'm arguing against that. I'm saying that they're in a long game. I'm saying they're not there yet.
I can't win this argument because you all make no sense whatsoever.
We're just changing the rules as we go.
Please come in and help me out on this. I got to go.
No, Craig. No. The reason, and here's where I'll agree with Craig. Okay, I think the
somebody record this.
I'll both agree and disagree with him. I think what everyone has been saying is that, yes, for some things we Craig obviously does get more traction on Facebook than on Google+. There's no doubt about that. I'm not going to argue that point. I think where he and I disagree is he's saying it's because Google is doing something inherently wrong when it comes to social, and Facebook is doing something inherently right. And I don't think that is correct. I think what Google is doing inherently wrong when it comes to social is that they are not actually carrying through on some of their important points. So, for example, what Andrew has said in comments, Google Plus's biggest problem is still that circles were their selling point and are terrible. And I think he's got some merit there.
But isn't there something...
They've been botching up circles pretty much since the beginning, and I think what we'll be covering later when we talk about the Play Store is an example of that.
Because sometimes when they do Google does their updates for G+, sometimes people get dropped out of circles and they don't realize that happened. That happened with a friend of mine. He's on Facebook, yes, and he was connected with me here, and I told him, I says, I dropped out of your circles. He says, no, you didn't. I says, yeah, you did. Go look. He says, I didn't do anything.
But there's an inherent difference between Facebook and Google Plus that we haven't talked about yet, and that is that Facebook is about friend and friend of friend.
I'm sorry, Dan. Dan, can I just cut you off there and say you're wrong?
No, you're
Facebook.
I'm right.
Dan, I'm sorry, you're wrong.
It was built that way.
It was built that way.
It was.
It was built that way. First, you had to be a student at Harvard. If someone, Dan, God damn it, Al, let me finish my fucking sentence, please.
Let me finish and tell you why you're wrong.
You don't even know what I'm going to say.
Yes, I do.
Wait a minute, Alan.
If someone friends you on Facebook, if someone friends you on Facebook and they're not a friend of a friend, you'll get a little thing like, do you know this person in real life? Yes or no? Google Plus doesn't do that. Google Plus is more about interest-based. If I'm interested in photography, if I'm interested in Perth, Australia, I can just add somebody, just like on Twitter, and they don't care if I'm a friend of a friend. Facebook's very centric in that. And so it naturally lends itself to social in terms of your friends and friends of friends and your relatives and relatives, second whatever. Whereas Google Plus is more interest based, and so
Agreed.
they're different. And that's why Harold Carey does very well on Facebook compared to Google Plus. Even though he started his Facebook page after he started his Google Plus page, he still gets way more traction on Facebook because he posts about a niche group, the Navajo people, who are very active on Facebook, and they discover it, they tag people, and Facebook's very good at that. Whereas Google Plus, I can go into a random community and find, a photographer I like, and I can circle him or her. Whereas Facebook actually sort of discourages that. I think it's a very different at the core. Facebook was designed as the term is the yearbook of a college, and all your friends, and it's about my page or my profile, what my hobbies are, my interests, who I'm dating, etc. And then I'm your friend, so I'm going to be able to chat with you and maybe hit on you or whatever. That was Facebook's game, whereas Google Plus was more an interest-based thing. That's my view, Alan. And tell me where I'm wrong.
Okay, for starters, you just contradicted yourself. You used Harold as an example of saying that. I'm sorry. Tell them I'm not available right now, but they can contact my press agent.
That was a
you used Harold as an example of a place where that he has a major interest group, okay?
Yeah,
and by your argument, you would say that Google Plus, which is interest-based, should have done better at that than Facebook, which is relationship-based. And yet it worked better on Facebook.
Because in the Navajo community,
area, it was easy.
He would post a photo, and then if let's say Michael Banks and I are both Navajos, because we're obviously spitting images of each other, we both look like Navajos. So he would tag me in a photo when I was doing whatever event, and then I would see it, and then my relatives would see it, who are Navajos because they're my relatives, and it would grow like that. And Facebook's very good at that, no doubt.
So to make sure I understand what you're saying that Facebook is also a better interest network because people who you're interested in will have relationships.
They both have their strengths. In photography, I'd say both are strong. In tech geek stuff, I would say Google Plus is stronger. In food, I would say Facebook's stronger.
Okay, so let me finish, and here's why I said you were wrong. Part of the reason is you're making a fundamental assumption about you're saying that there is a fundamental nature about Facebook that makes the personal relationships better than the personal relationships of Google+. And I'm saying that's wrong.
I think
the reason
that
why Dan, can I finish now,
I'm
please?
sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you. The reason why I'm saying it's wrong is because although on Facebook I do have a lot of friends and family connections, when I'm talking to my family, I'm talking to them on Google+. And
I would say you're the exception.
And I'm talking to them pretty much exclusively on Google+.
But I think that makes you the exception, Alan.
The major discovery process on Facebook is friends of friends and relatives, whether it be Navajos or what have you. Whereas Google Plus, it's not like that, I think. Go ahead.
Can I finish? And what I'm saying is that, yes, I may be an exception. I'm not even disputing that I'm an exception. My point, however, is by saying that by illustrating that I'm an exception, illustrates the fact that there is not something fundamental about the two different networks that causes these differences.
No, I'm inclined to agree, but I have a couple points to add. Dan has made this point a few times that Google Plus is better about discovery, and I think I completely agree with that because am I saying that right? Discovery for interest.
I think you need to do something about your cold. I'm sorry to hear you sound like you need some good tea.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying bourbon to see if that helps.
Oh, that's almost as good. Okay.
Absolutely.
It's a tea of ice and bourbon.
That great line from the West Wing, Alan.
Hot. You need a hot toddy there.
Like the British ambassador in the West Wing. He has this fancy concoction with the bourbon. It's like, well, of course, you could do away with all the other stuff and just have the bourbon or whatever. I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's me.
The elixir. Go ahead, Michael. We've
completely lost my train of thought there.
It's good bourbon. Kentucky?
Yeah, right. Actually, yeah, it is. Of course it's Kentucky. That's where bourbon is. So I think that, okay, I want to talk about two things. The Navajo point. I think that the Navajo community is a different example than many others. So I first believe that Google Plus is better about discovering people who share your interests, with the exception being that if there is already an existing community, that Facebook will be easier to network those people because they already know each other. So there's an existing community of Navajo people. Most Navajo people that are interested in Navajo activities, they already know each other. They're connected in real life somehow. And they find that Facebook is an easy way to connect electronically, and they share things there. They will not find that same thing in Google+, nor will you find a big population of undiscovered Navajo people. At least that would be my perception of it. On the other hand, if I'm interested in photography, photographers cover the entire world. And you will find a lot of undiscovered photographers in Google+, and it would be hard to find those people in Facebook.
To expound, and I mean, we basically have a lot of the same points. I think to more sum it up, Facebook, the reason Craig is, good with that, and the reason Facebook has gotten so popular is because it's good at associating people with other people in a close-knit network. So, like Dan said, friends of friends. I mean, it's good with that. Whereas Google Plus is more, like you said, interest-based and it's about discovery, but it's bent on sharing certain things with certain people on a national level. Whereas Facebook started at a smaller point associating people in certain networks, while yes, somewhat being national topics and national networks, but it was not on a national scale. I think, like you said, you can reach people in totally separate parts by that discovery, but with Facebook, it would not. You would have to literally search for someone if they're not in your close network.
So
on the other hand,
to sum
Michael,
up,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Michael.
Well, I was going to add another point that while I just made the point that Google is better at discovery, I have problems with Google's discovery engine as well, because there are plenty of people that I know that I've discovered by talking to them that they have Google accounts. And they don't know any Google. And I have to talk them through the laborious process of ending up with a properly working Google Plus account.
Boy,
that's their proper
that's
email
a great
address.
sentence. You have to work them through the laborious process.
I call that
That explains July 2011 in a nutshell right there.
What's your point, Alan?
My point was I was skipping back half a subject. Michael Ellis's comment about making it being easier to discover the photography network on Google Plus because you'll be looking for photography. I find that kind of amusing because I tapped into the Google Plus photography network through a friend of mine, through the close personal relationships that you think I would have discovered it that we had built over the past. In fact, we're good friends on Facebook, and yet I don't see his connection to the photography community on Facebook.
We've already
I see his connection to the photography. He's the one who introduced me to the photography community on Google Plus.
We already established you're an exception, Alan. I
think the key. Okay, Alan.
And again, Michael, I will admit that and agree to it, but I would point out that then kind of undermines the argument that there is something fundamentally different about these two social networks.
They are.
I think the difference is this. I think Facebook is your friends you know in real life, your friends and relatives. Google Plus is your virtual friends.
Yours may be, but I'm sorry, I've got more interesting friends than that.
But I think that, I'm saying virtual in terms of, I've met Sreek in real life, I've met Craig in real life, I haven't met any of the rest of you in real life. I still count you as dear friends. I've known you for years, and if we did meet, it would be like, hey, what's up? Like, we're just picking up where we left off. But Facebook is like, people you've actually physically met or related to.
Mine's the same.
So
I
Dan,
think that's
so
a big
let me put this question
dividing
to you this way,
line
then,
between the two services. And Twitter is more like Google Plus than Facebook in that respect.
Let me put it to you this way, Dan. Why is that?
Because
where they started?
Facebook is where my sister tells me what time to be at Thanksgiving, and Google Plus is where I discover cool people in New York who wanted.
Because the way they started. Look, Facebook started from one little area and it built. Google Plus started on a national scale, released to everyone at the same time.
And it's being judged by that.
I know it didn't. I know it didn't. I was there. I know it didn't. But that's the way it was given out.
Right, but no. But Michael, how did you get an invite to Google Plus?
Oh, here we go. Yeah, Alan's got a point there. Yeah, but still, this is Google. This is the thing, and we also have to put this in perspective. If Gerwin and Moritz and Michael and Alan had formed a startup and called it G Plus, and it was where Google Plus is today, they would be the new Henry Ford.
Oh, that's a very good point.
But because it was Google, which owns video, owns email, owns search, it was the Facebook killer.
Wow.
Because the Goliath came in there to kill David. And he didn't. And so, and they never framed it that way, though. It was the media.
Okay.
I remember one of our first Google Plus shows, Google Plus Week, and this is not on this YouTube channel. It's on my Daniel P. McDermott channel. If you go back, the topic was, is Google Plus the Facebook killer?
That is the fundamental issue with Google Plus.
But they never marketed that. They said, this is a social layer to bind our services, our disparate services. And they didn't say, but they meant, to eventually clean up the cesspool that is YouTube. But it was viewed in the media. It was portrayed in the media because Google's big, right? They own search, they own mail, they own video. So they're going to conquer the world. And when, it's almost like if the U.S. is Vietnam, it didn't work.
Well, it's also
and so
only
they're judging
2 years
in those contexts.
And there's a very entrenched company that's the dominant player. So, nobody unseated IBM in 2 years.
Nor did Microsoft go down in 2 years.
That is the fundamental.
It's taken Steve Ballmer several years to destroy that company.
That is the fundamental issue with Google Plus, right there, what you just said.
Alan, you have a comment from someone?
I have a comment from Moritz, which I think is surprisingly relevant. There's been some.
Yeah, I was going to say
on YouTube about how this conversation.
It was Craig. It was all Craig. It was freaking Craig.
And Moritz says, to sum it up, the new Hangout buttons are great. This is what we started talking about. The new Hangout buttons.
Yeah, I was about to do the same thing.
And then went off topic.
It was because of Craig. I'm telling you, Craig. Twitter is not social. Newsflash.
I came in after the Hangout button.
No, Twitter is not social. No,
Not at all.
I'll tell you, Twitter is.
So, Alan, what is the new Hangout button, by the way?
Yeah, so there's a new Hangout. Anyway, so we hope you've enjoyed this.
This segment.
Basically, we're the new Khan Academy on how to set up your Hangout button.
The unsocial.
All the scripting, all the intricate scripting details have been released here in this exclusive tutorial.
I will say that I need to republish my video now to cover all the changes, and I'm looking forward to doing that at some point.
That was pretty epic. You did like one freaking video in your whole life, and it went viral. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, where viral is, what, 2,000 shares. I mean, it's, 2,000 views. It's not exactly,
You're a one-hit wonder. Now you're afraid to make your second album, because after Thriller, what's left?
Yeah, it's not exactly Psy, but...
One-trick pony.
Anyway, next subject.
Are we good with the Hangout button?
Oh, yeah, we're so good with the Hangout button.
I missed that.
Okay, now, since it's the bottom of the hour, we're going to recap our photography topic.
Photos!
Oh, my God. Shoot me now. Okay, so this is a topic from Margie.
This is a topic from Margie, which nobody has talked about because nobody else seems to use this particular website.
She is, I'll tell you what, she is one of their most devoted mobile users. She really is. And she's a strong advocate for their mobile features. I like that. And she's loud, and she's a good spokesperson for the folks who use the mobile web version, which is often not talked about. We don't talk about that enough.
We don't, and part of the reason why we don't is it's really very often given short shrift. I mean, it's
but as the Microsoft phone takes off, it's going to become more relevant.
any decade now.
Right. You think Google Plus has problems? Talk to Microsoft Windows Phone. Fail. Go ahead, Alan.
So she pointed out today that it received a bunch of improvements, and I sent a message to her saying, "Can you outline to me what some of these improvements are?" And her reply to me was basically, "Go take a look at it." And I'm like, I'm not sure if I took a look at it that I'd recognize a difference, because I've never seen what the old version looked like. But so she outlined a little bit more to me, and I'm rapidly trying to pull up her post again. But where'd it go? But some of it basically got a bunch of new UI improvements, which apparently sorely needed, since it didn't have it was years behind.
Got my baby.
And it
got my baby.
Who's that?
So it got a bunch of UI improvements, and it got access to communities finally, which apparently it didn't have before. So these are great to see. Without a doubt, it is always good to see that Google is improving the whole range of access to the properties for those poor souls who are stuck on Windows phones and Blackberries and ooh. So anyway, we wanted to make sure that got covered. Moving quickly on to the next subject, and Michael and I were talking about this earlier, there's also been a bunch of changes to the Settings tab, which now, as far as I can tell, the real big difference on the settings is that instead of one long list of things that you can do to change notifications, they've now broken them up into sections, which I think they did before, and collapsed each section. So, Michael, Michael Banks, you were pointing this one out to me earlier. What are your thoughts on this change?
I like it.
You like it. Sheila, what are your thoughts? Have you seen this yet? And I muted you, Sheila. I'm sorry.
That's okay. What did I see? Not see?
New
Huh?
settings.
The new settings page.
Oh, yeah, under the home button. Yeah.
What do you think?
Not
a lot, obviously.
There's not much change, really. I mean, not for me, anyway.
Anyone, any thoughts?
Yeah,
No.
actually, mine's not collapsed now yet.
At
So
least it's easier to find.
I'm sorry. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I was looking in the wrong spot. I see receive notifications, and that's all got sections now, and it's collapsed.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think this is bad. I don't think it's very good. I don't think it's very useful. It doesn't solve any problem, really.
What's with the shared endorsement thing?
Well, but it could be in anticipation of some significant expansion, so they organized it to make it easier when they have a lot more stuff. I don't know.
I think that the problem it solved for me is if I'm looking for something.
Oh, recommendations for Google Play. Never mind. Okay.
What were you saying, Michael?
I'm saying if I'm looking for something specific, I don't have to look at all the other stuff. I can just go to that tab and it's quicker to get to. Instead of scrolling, oh, I missed it. I got to scroll back up. Okay, there it is. I mean, it serves that purpose.
Michael Ellis, just to note the length of this program, what state were you in when we started the show, and what state are you in now?
I began in Illinois, and now I'm in New York.
Okay, I'm just...
And we had an hour...
Literally, when we started the show, you were in Illinois, and now you're in New York, and you've gone by plane, train, bus, and car.
Yes.
From Illinois to New York, and we're only halfway done with the show.
We're only halfway done with the topics, and we're about halfway done with our time, so we need to keep it moving.
Oh my god.
Well,
Let's get
I
back
added
to
a
settings.
topic even, so good.
Yes, and this is actually an important topic. This is our next topic.
You forgot about this one.
I did forget about it, which is funny, considering this is actually a very big one for me.
A good one, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't.
I'm sorry. So what we're alluding to, do you want to introduce it, Michael? Go ahead.
I think I can. I can try anyway. I didn't catch everything that it did, but there are significant new enhancements that have been anxiously awaited by all the users of, many users of Google Spreadsheets, Google Sheets in Google Drive.
Yeah.
Now that you can use, just as you can do with documents and presentations or slides, you can work offline now with Sheets. And this is a huge deal because it's one of the big barriers for me anyway to convince other business people I know to adopt Google tools instead in preference to Microsoft tools.
So yeah, this is a big deal. In fact, this is a total rewrite of Sheets from the ground up, apparently.
It has to have been, yeah.
One of the other things to note, though, is if you're interested in trying some of the features that we're going to be talking about, you need to specifically enable it, since right now it's in beta mode, and it is actually missing some features.
Right.
So if you want to use it to play around with it, you need to explicitly turn it on, and all of your old sheets are still handled the old way. Once you've switched it on, your new sheets will be handled the new way, even if you then switch it back. So they're almost two different file types that are not compatible with each other.
And if you have existing sheets, you need to, and I'm going to suggest to people they carefully think about how to migrate, because if you test and you decide you want to go back, you're going to have trouble with new sheets that don't go back. And if you have old sheets, you have to recognize which ones are old. And I don't think there's any way to identify it. When you open a sheet, I don't think you can tell which one's new and which one's old.
I believe there is. I think there's actually a visual indicator, not in the location you expect, but I think there is a visual indicator that says so.
Well, I'm going to warn people about this because my suggestion would be test it with a test account. Create a test account and try it and share your documents there, or share your documents, copy them. Make a copy so you're not messing with your original data until you're certain that it works for you. But the beauty of this is, and maybe not everybody understands this, you can create a spreadsheet when you're online, when you're connected with internet, and when you close up your PC and you go away, you can open up your PC again on the airplane with no Wi-Fi connection or anywhere sitting on a mountaintop with no internet connection, and you can keep working on your spreadsheet. And when you connect again, it will sync everything. Now, I'm telling all of this as if I've used it, and because I'm a paying apps customer, a loyal paying apps customer, I don't have it yet. And I guess I won't have it for some time to come.
This is, and I will say, I can't believe they're still doing this to us apps people, but there are a couple of other things to note. First of all, is that this is not a fully working product yet. There are gaps.
Yep.
Most notably, if you use Google Apps Script right now, don't switch to the new one. It doesn't work correctly yet.
Oh, I didn't read that.
Oh yes, it was posted as part of the blog. There are a lot of caveats using Apps Script and the new spreadsheets right now.
But I thought it was just specific functions that didn't work.
I believe it's, although it is specific functions, some of them are pretty broad specific functions, like get range.
Oh, get range. Yeah, that's important.
Yeah,
okay.
there are major parts that aren't quite working correctly.
Mm-hmm.
That said, there are a lot of other nice things about the new spreadsheets beyond offline mode, which, don't get me wrong, it's big, it's huge. But there are a lot of other things. The first is they made some major performance improvements in it. And as part of those performance improvements, spreadsheets can now be significantly bigger than they used to be.
Right. Now there's essentially the same kinds of limitations as you have in Excel.
Right. And
which is great, because that's a big barrier to people switching.
Yeah. There are also a bunch of new functions that are available. and some new tools to help you build functions from the components. So there's a lot of other stuff that's going in. I expect to hear a lot more about Sheets, hopefully in the very near future. But keep in mind there are known problems, and so before you venture into this, I recommend people read up on what the known problems are.
Did you mention about the offline capability as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think it's very important for people to recognize, before you mess up your real data, try this in a test account.
Yeah.
Share your sheet to a test account, then make a copy, and you'll have the same sheet, but it'll be new, and then go to your settings and turn it on, and try it, work with it in the test account until you're satisfied that that sheet is going to work for you.
You need to turn it on first and then copy the sheet over.
Oh, that's valid. Okay,
because
that makes sense.
if you copy it over, you'll end up with an old sheet.
Yeah,
and there's
you'll
no
end
way
up
to
with an old
convert an old sheet to a new sheet.
And Alan, how you turn it on?
It's in settings somewhere.
There's a link for that. I can share it to you if you want.
There's also
one word of caution.
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, Michael, when you say do a test account, try it. One word of caution: if you have a legacy Google Apps account that's free, and you turn on the 30-day paid option, like the free 30 days or whatever, to test it, at the end of that 30 days, it shuts down, and you no longer have the free legacy free account.
That's true, but I'm not
you will destroy your legacy. Yeah, but as far as apps accounts,
create personal accounts because they're free, and you're just going to dispose of it when you're finished anyway. Or I suggest you keep a test account for that purpose anyway. But there's another thing that. Oh, what was the other thing I was going to mention? Oh, if you determine that it's going to work for you, then a second way to make the copy, to make a new sheet, is to create a new sheet empty and copy and paste everything from the original sheet into the new sheet, and you'll get the new capabilities.
What I'm kind of suggesting at this point is, unless you've got specific things that you want to test out or specific reasons why you need the new capabilities, and we've discussed there are some very good legitimate reasons why you would, leave things in the old sheets, in the old sheet format. Once this becomes the permanent thing, I'm assuming that old sheets will suddenly be able to be migrated into new versions.
Or will migrate maybe
automatically.
automatically.
Will migrate automatically, yeah.
I'm excited, as you can tell. I've learned a lot about this. I studied it hard. I'm very excited about this. Offline spreadsheets is a big deal.
It is a big. I'm very excited about it as well. In fact, the biggest reason why I'm not more excited about this is one of the features, two of the features that I am relying on at this point aren't available for it. So if you, basically, if they've had a very old API for spreadsheets, and not only does the old API not work, there is no new API yet. And they haven't made it clear about what they're going to do, whether they're giving it a new API or whether they're going to move the old API over. Personally, I'm hoping they give us a new API that has some new features that have been lacking from the old one. But I'll admit that that's a fairly narrow use case.
On the API thing, I just want to comment. I was looking at Google AdWords today, and it says copyright 2008, and that's their cash cow. That surprised me. But as far as the spreadsheets, we use that. It's a godsend. And you're a good use case, Michael, because like I was joking earlier, but you were flying, and you can be productive on that airplane now. That you can use electronic devices.
Without paying for Wi-Fi.
Absolutely. You can update stuff and go through things and input things, and then when you get to Wi-Fi, it'll, go live.
Pretty soon I'll be able to do it during takeoff and landing.
Absolutely.
If I can divert us to a different topic.
So there. Anything else on Sheets? As I said in my post, you should cuddle up with the new Google Sheets. Okay, next up, I guess I'll intro this since I'm
If we talk about it again, we can say this was the topic between the sheets.
So anyway, about photos. Okay, so YouTube Live is this is exciting. This is power to the people. We've seen a lot of news stories. Netflix just came out with some interesting things about binge viewing, and we see the lawsuits with Aereo, and Aereo just went to the Supreme Court and said that they're not going to oppose the Supreme Court intervening on the lawsuits about whether they're legal in terms of letting people have a DVR and watch local stations and bypass the retransmission fees that the stations get from cable companies, all that stuff. It's a new era in terms of content, and basically, you know, the gatekeepers are being pushed to the side to a degree, and anybody who's creative and talented can come up with content like we're doing right now. Now, you can argue about whether, you know, how creative or talented any of us are, but the fact is that we have viewers, and you know, a few hundred people watch this show. Sometimes, you know, the most we ever had was 4,000, I think, back in the day. But anybody with a simple webcam or phone can create content live. I guess not with a phone on YouTube Live, but they've just expanded this to everybody, and they've integrated Hangouts, so you can do it with regular consumer equipment with the Hangout on Air in the YouTube Live interface, or you can do what I'm doing, which is a more complicated setup. Now this is I've probably got 10 grand easy in this setup, so this is a more complex situation, which has its pluses and minuses. It's kind of complicated to set up and all that, but I'm so excited about this because the poorest person in a developing country has the same advantage that CBS or the BBC have to create content, and then it's up to you, in the same way that YouTube democratized music, where a kid like Justin Bieber, or that kid in the Philippines, or young man who became the lead singer of Journey and got discovered just because he was talented, not because he knew somebody or slept his way to the top or that sort of thing. It was just talent. They got discovered and made it to the top of the industry. The same thing's possible with video, and now you can do a live program on YouTube Live and stream it to the world, and it's up to you to come up with compelling content that people want to watch. And there's so many great tools. Like, we've really gotten pretty good at interacting with the audience, and there's lots of techniques and stuff. So, but just they initially, it was an invite only thing for the stars as they did it, and then they said if you have 1,000 subscribers, and to my followers, I apologize again for spamming every single post. Please subscribe to me on YouTube so I can get streaming. And then before I even got to 1,000, they opened it up to less than that, or I think I got it some other way. I forget.
And then I started having to beg to get 100.
Yeah, and then I started to see
we had a number of events on this show where we were begging.
Yeah, so absolutely, it was like, okay, everyone this week subscribe to Alan, and then next week, you know, Michael Banks, and but that's okay, and so it's exciting, and there are free tools you can use. There's a free Wirecast version you can use, and then you can pay to upgrade. There's another program called Open Broadcasting Software, which is what I use. I've switched from Wirecast to their website is OBS for Open Broadcasting Software, obsproject.com. It's completely free. It does almost everything Wirecast does. It does everything I need.
I got to tell you, the thing that excites me the most about the fact that everyone is getting live also means that everyone is going to be is essentially now getting private Hangouts on Air.
You were a big advocate of this. Tell us why you advocated this.
This is what I want to hear about. Yeah.
Adam, tell us why. The viewers from the beginning will get that joke.
I'm happy to tell you, and all of our other misnamed customers, why. So the cool aspect of this is that there's a whole bunch of use cases for Hangouts on Air, where people, there are a whole bunch of use cases where people want to have Hangouts and record those Hangouts, but not make those recordings public, at least not initially.
Right. That's
now,
me. That's totally my deal.
It's totally my deal too. But I think you and I want it for totally different reasons. And that's what's cool about it as a platform, is that it doesn't matter what your reason is. It doesn't matter why you want to do this. The feature is there to support a whole bunch of things. So with YouTube Live, now when you set up a live, let me make sure I get this correct, and I'm probably gonna say this wrong. Now when you set up a live broadcast, you have a choice to either set up the live broadcast using YouTube Live, the historic method, or using a Hangout on Air. And either way you go, you can set the other parameters for it. And one of those parameters is set a start time. Another parameter is, does it default to public, private, or unlisted?
Oh my God, that's so great.
And this is now done using the live control panel.
And so you get metrics that you didn't get before. Okay. And so like a couple use case scenarios, let's say Alan wanted to have a hangout with his absolutely adorable kid and share it with some relatives. But in other words, stream it to a select few, but not make it public.
Streaming it and recording it. But yeah,
right.
Exactly.
And let's say Michael Ellis wanted to have a conversation with one of his sales reps or whatever, and he wanted to stream it to other sales reps, and then later decided he wants to, but he doesn't want to make it public because he wants to chop it up and maybe use a portion of that in a promotional thing for clients to view, but he may not want the preamble or the post to be viewable necessarily to clients, right? So there's all sorts of neat things.
This is also great now for private webinars. I mean, people have been talking about using Hangouts on Air for public webinars for years now. Now we can do private webinars, such that you've got this small group of people who are invited to take part and do something, and a different group who are invited to watch. And it used to be you had to invite everybody, or you had to hope that nobody found your live stream. Now you can invite a narrow stream to watch.
So you could even monetize that. You could offer a private Q&A advice with Guy Kawasaki on how to promote your book, and you could charge for it, and
then you can combine that with something
at the last minute. Email the link to them; they can watch it. But
and then you combine that with something like Comment Tracker, and they can be making comments privately.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be getting the comments and incorporate them live.
And it's recorded, so you could later chop it up and 6 months later release it publicly.
And it's recorded, so you can later chop it up or
release it privately and sell it. Yeah, you can download it and upload it to your own private CDN, Content Delivery Network, and charge for access for after the fact if you wanted.
Can you launch this from inside a community?
No. Right now, it is only launchable from YouTube Live. So you actually have to start from the YouTube side of things.
Okay, can I use the new schedule a Hangout event function in Google Plus?
I do not think so.
Oh.
And part of the reason why I don't think so is because YouTube has its own. YouTube Live has its own
schedule a Hangout event kind of thing.
Now, what I don't know is how related the two schedulers are, and if this means that we're going to see them merging at some point in the future. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I don't know what will happen.
This has been
I see Michael is nodding his head no, that he doesn't think so. And
that may be Kentucky's finest talking there. I'm not sure.
Not this Michael.
The other Michael.
Oh, the other Michael.
I don't know. You know, I can make cases for both things happening, that they do get closer or they don't get closer. I can make that argument both ways. I don't know what's really going to happen. Either way, I find this development really exciting.
Yeah, this is exciting. This is the thing I've been waiting for a long time. I think it's key for my business development to be able to do, because I haven't been approved for help outs, so I have to find some other way to use these capabilities. Because I guess they're never going to answer me and tell me that I'm approved or why I'm not approved.
Yeah, this I gotta just, in a broader context, this has really been a wonderful. Normally, the term "spaghetti on the wall" is a negative connotation, but this week Google has really thrown a lot of spaghetti on the wall. But what fine cuisine it is! They've really got some gems in here. This is great. It's been a very busy week of feature releases.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this week and next week. You know, I'm sure we're going to see probably about the same next week, as everyone's rushing to get things done before the winter break. But
the holidays, as they say in California.
But yeah, you know, I think there really are some really good improvements that I'm really glad to see are finally making it out there.
So this is exciting. But the live thing I've really been looking forward to because I've loved it. And I remember I told people, I said, subscribe to me so I can, you know, try to create cool shows, and people seem to like it. And I've had comments on I like live over Hangouts on Air because, and I expect the gap to narrow. I expect the quality difference to narrow because right now, like I'm pushing about, I'll show you here, to the viewers here on the bottom right here, you can see we're doing 4,200. It's a variable bit rate, but in the very bottom right of my screen, you can see we're pushing about 4,000 kilobits per second, which you absolutely could not get in a Hangout on Air. Also, I have the ability to switch screens really easily. I can just hit a hotkey on my keyboard. I can go, you know, me, them, with me, just them, you know, comments, left screen, right screen, etc. And so I have all these neat features, but this is a complex setup that people who are not technically inclined would have difficulty mastering. But now they've given it to everybody, and they've added the really easy Hangout on Air interface. So they both are fantastic, but in different ways.
So Oleg has now joined us. Oleg, do you have any thoughts on the new changes for YouTube Live?
To be honest with you, Alan, I've been doing a class for 3 days, and I haven't even looked at anything what's going on, so cannot chime in.
So you're not even aware that there have been changes to photos. We need to recap the photos again.
Oleg is clearly qualified to be an expert witness in a court case now.
Is there some problem or?
No, we're joking because we once again did like 2 hours on photos.
We all completely agreed.
No, hey Dan, let's be fair here. We did 30 minutes on photos and a freaking hour on something.
On Twitter is not social. On how Twitter is not social. That's what we spent the hour on.
Yeah, there's no social activity at all on Twitter. We apparently determined. So I was just my only regret is
don't say it, Oleg. Don't say it.
My only regret is that when Alan cusses me out because of the setup I have in the studio here. When Alan cusses me out, or if I cuss him out, I'm unable to see Sheila DuBois' face as she. You know, that's my only regret because I really want the whole, you know,
the whole effect.
I want the dramatic effect, right? Go ahead, Alan.
We have this comment from Moritz. So the next Google Plus week will be private, so we don't have to listen to another boring and pointless discussion about Google Plus versus Facebook.
What do you want to listen to, Moritz? Photos? You want to listen to that instead?
Because absolutely nobody's using Google Plus. Everyone's on Facebook, and Twitter doesn't exist.
Next topic, Dan.
Next topic. Welcome, Oleg in Kirkland, Washington.
Hello.
How are you, sir?
Happy holidays. I'm doing okay. A little tired, but I'm okay. How are you?
I'm doing quite well. I see your. How come you're my favorite little kid there, or he's a tie with Alan's kid. His face is blurred, but your beautiful daughter's face is not.
It's the way I guess Google does the focus effect.
And your lower third is too small. We can't quite read it. Could you make it a little bigger?
This is how I illuminate my system's chin.
All right, so next up.
Covers the chin.
Yeah. It
Nice.
covers all of them.
No.
All right, I'm just kidding, Oleg. Oleg could kick my ass, so I got to be careful, verbally and physically. Okay, so next up, are we on Gmail graphics, right?
Yes.
Yeah, this is interesting. So Gmail, what they did, this is good for some, bad for others. What one of the things that marketing companies advertise is like Aweber or MailChimp, these companies that allow you to send, bulk email, often on an opt-in basis, right? Someone has to, say, yeah, I want to get emails. But the photographs will be sort of hidden from view, and you have to click show messages or always show messages from, updates at alanfirstenberg.com. And one of the problems with this is that sinister people can put bad virus malware type stuff embedded in these things. Also, they can find out if you've read the message. They can get metrics back, because when that message is downloaded, it's not coming from Yahoo Mail or Gmail or Hotmail. It's coming from their server. And so when that message is downloaded, that is an indication, hey, Dan McDermott has just read your email. And so then you can look, and what's good is if you're an email marketer, you can see that, this email got 60% of the people to open it. This one got 10%, what was different, that sort of thing. But it can also be used in malicious ways. So what Gmail's going to do is they're going to start storing this stuff on their own servers and caching it. Now, my initial post was incorrect, and I have to update it. They're going to scan it for viruses, and so when you open an email, the images will just appear. But you can turn it off if you're worried about bandwidth. Like if you're on mobile and you have metered bandwidth, then you can turn that setting off to where you can opt in for each message. I do want to see the images here or not. But by default, I think it's going to just show them. But they'll all be coming from Google, from a Gmail server. And the initial reports were, and my initial post said, that this would no longer provide metrics that the email was read to email marketing companies. It appears that that's not the case, that they will get the metric, although I have to verify that.
So
this is a pro and a con. So, Alan, you want to take it from there?
Yeah, I wanted to clarify that last point of yours a little bit. Marketing News reported that they reached out to Google and reached out to some of the mass mailing companies, and all of them seem to be saying, yes, the open metric is being reported still. So
do we know how?
Yeah, basically it means that one of the ways they did it is that each of the tracking graphics was a unique graphic. So each one had a different name. So Google can't cache them really. All that happens is that Google will, the first time that it's open, Google goes and fetches it at the time that the mail is open.
Now, if they improve this, though, couldn't they determine through an algorithm that they're sending the same, like I get a spam, which I enjoy from Digital Juice, which is the exact same image everyone else gets. But really, I don't know if they could do that.
They can't.
They could get into a quagmire there, because they're technically they're editing the contents of your email, right?
But they do that now anyway. But they probably wouldn't, because part of the reason why they did this, and part of the reason why they did it this way, was to appease the marketers who they were pissing off after their last round of changes. So what this does, the big difference here is that before, images were not open by default. Now they will be open by default, so that the marketers now have a more reliable open number. The downside, though, is that marketers will be losing some of the information they used to get about the web graphic tracking. So they won't be able to know, for example, what browser you're using to open it, which means they won't know if you're viewing it on a mobile versus a desktop. They won't be able to see what IP address it comes from. So they're losing some information, but they're seeing higher open rates, simply because it's defaulting to opening it now, and they're happier with that. So overall, it seems to be that the marketers like this move, even though they're losing out on some information.
Okay, let me, real quick before we advance, let me share my screen here and read an email from Aweber about this that I got today. And this is a company that is a bulk email service provider. So if you build up an email list for your blog or for whatever, Let me just tell you what it's pretty short here. It says reports Gmail no longer blocking images, and it says your email subscribers who use Gmail will soon see all of your images without having to turn them on, although they can opt to turn them off. For you, this means two things. Your images seen by more subscribers will have more of the aesthetic and informative effects that you intend, and two, your reports may show more subscribers opening your emails. Since opens are recorded when images display, you'll now be able to see opens from Gmail subscribers who weren't previously loading your images. More detailed user information will be hidden for privacy, but seeing correct open rates is likely to benefit a far wider pool of email marketers. So they're not viewing this in a negative context.
No. It's what Alan said makes perfect sense. He's absolutely right. But it's one of these deals where if you look at how they used to do it, they used to put, I mean, a lot of them would just put a single pixel, and that was enough for their web server to get the information they need about somebody opening the email, provided that this person actually had the images showing. And so this email you just read, Dan, simply indicates that now, with everybody pretty much having images turned off, now by having them turned on, they have enhanced their ability to project the information to the people, because a lot of these emails the marketer sends, a lot of them are just nothing more than text messages with a little tiny pixel for their tracking, which of course would be useless. At this point, this will kill it, which is great. I mean, nobody needs it anyway. But the other kind are the people who actually send you real graphics. Those are the people who are going to benefit, because now those graphics will be visible. Right now, most of them will not be visible, so they don't have any impact. But now that they'll be visible, they will have the positive marketing impact that was intended by the company who generated the email in the first place. So I think
it sounds like a win-win, is what you're saying.
It's a good thing for marketers who really use graphics to actually project their marketing points. It's a bad thing for marketers who simply use this basically HTTP situation where anything that's displayed from a web server goes into the log, so you can actually track and see what's going on.
Do we all agree it's good for the reader? It's good for the consumer.
And even there, Oleg, they're still getting some benefit out, just not as much benefit as they were getting before.
Well, and also if you look at marketing, one of the things they got was an email from a company saying, please move our email from the whatever you're seeing it into the primary category, so you can make sure that you get all of our emails. Of course, I mean, you can see all of our emails. This is totally bogus in terms of them asking to do it, but there have been apparently dramatic drops in the rates after Google switched to this category display.
That's interesting, Oleg. I've heard the opposite, that there were not dramatic drops in rates, that everyone was worried about it, but it proved to be false.
Drops. Elaborate on or clarify what you mean by drops in rates. What are you talking about?
Well, when you used to get email, you immediately would see in your inbox, okay? Yeah. And then Google switched to these categories like promotional, social, and so on. And a lot of these emails now started showing up in promotional category, not the primary, which means that when you open your email, you only see primary in front of your face. And unless you click on promotional, you'd be missing those other emails.
I love those categories, though. I got to tell you, I
totally agree with you, but I'm just saying there are companies who are afraid that, not afraid, they're actively sending emails. I can show you one of them that says, please move our email to the primary category so you can see, so you're not missing anything from us. So there's got to be something there, Alan, if they're sending.
Oleg, I think it's fear. I don't think that. I think the initial round of them doing this was based on the concern, and the reality proved to be different. Now, I'm just quoting other people. That's second and third hand information.
Yeah, no, I'm just telling you what I got yesterday. One thing that's very concerning to me, in terms of Google Plus, and I hope Google does something about that, is I just finished. I had this class for 3 days. And because the computers over there are set up generically, so I'm kind of changing the topic a little bit here. Computers are set up generically. They don't have any tie-in to each other or me or anything else as the teacher. So I just set up a little deal on Google Plus. Just set up an account on my Google Apps account so people can log in and they can exchange information, all of that. So before class, I asked people, I had 10 students, okay? And these are like Boeing engineers, finance department. These are not some burger flippers. I asked them how many people know about Google Plus, Guess how many people raised their hand out of 10?
0.
1. One person only knew, and so I think Google needs to do a lot more than what they're doing to become, you know.
See, here's the thing, though. I ran into a bunch of college students today, and they asked me about Glass, the usual round. And I mentioned that the photos get uploaded to Google+, and all of them knew what I was talking about.
Yeah, but see, so it depends who you talk to. The people who are in my class, they're more, I would say, between late 20s, maybe early 30s, and maybe like early 40s, something that kind of age range. 2 women, 8 guys. 1 guy knew about Google+, nobody else did. But I'm happy to say that by the time the class got done, everybody was savvy enough from just a little bit that I showed them to easily exchange information and download the materials that I set up for them on Drive and everything. So now all 10 of them know about it.
Okay, so next topic. This is actually one that was just added by Moritz, and I wanted to make sure we get to it before we run out of time because it's pretty interesting. There is apparently a new tip page for Google products.
Yes, there is, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm already having problems with it.
Why are you having problems?
So it's definitely...
So it's definitely from Google.
Yeah.
No, I didn't have any problems yesterday. Moritz is...
Hello? Am I still on?
Yeah.
You're still on.
You're good. Go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, so apparently once you log... It requires you to log in, and then it's a bunch of cards that let you learn different things about different subjects, about different products.
Right.
So let me do a quick screen share of what I'm seeing right now.
Go ahead and talk, Alan. I'll show him. Go ahead and talk.
So right now we've got a bunch of cards, including things like see what videos your friends are posting, get the family together even when you can't be together, and let's take a look at that one. I guess what that might be about.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh look, you can do video calls with up to 9 other people with Google Hangouts. I never knew that.
How do you do?
So, gives you some information that you may need to know, let you know where it works, and share it to Google Plus and other social networks and non-social networks like Twitter.
Welcome, Moritz.
Hey, Moritz.
Hi, Moritz.
I thought since I just
Moritz decided to join us.
Most people don't have a clue what it is about. I thought about jumping in real quick.
About what's about? I kind of missed
The Google Plus, the Google Tips we launched today. So this page offers you a bunch of tips that you may or may not know already for several Google products. It's like very short, handy tips, like for instance, watching your YouTube videos without watching them load. So we can actually preload a bunch of videos from YouTube and then watch them while you're on a plane and don't have internet connection and sorts of, stuff like that.
But it's only for cat videos, right?
Well, if you're into cat videos, you can download all your cat videos.
That's what it says. Save those cat videos to watch later.
Yeah, see? So we can pick up on memes in Cat a Day and stuff like that.
So, Morris, we have this question from Steve Perry. He asks, will this be a living page with regular updates?
Yes, and I answered that question in the comments already. It will be a living page. We will add more tips to the page, and as you can see, I think someone is doing the screen share. There is a link at the lower bar in the footer. Says suggest a card, so even users are able to submit tips or content they think it's worth sharing.
Very cool.
And we will review that and add those tips to our list. So it's a living page, which will be
Google Tips. Okay.
We will also localize it to our regular languages, so other people in other countries are able to read all the tips in their foreign language as well.
Yeah, it's
so this looks like a great addition. Has there been an announcement on Google Plus about this? Because I haven't seen it yet.
Yes, I shared it, and there were some people that
shared it. There were a bunch of people. Dennis LaBelle shared it
on our blog as well.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, a bunch of people shared it now.
But it was in the afternoon, I think, well, early morning U.S. time, Pacific. So
I shared it yesterday too. So it's I think it's pretty cool. They made, if you look, let me share the screen again. Moritz, is this your handiwork, by the way?
No, it is not.
Okay, we'll give credit to Moritz anyway. If you look at the screen, they did a nice bunch of animations. See, when you move over the cards, they move a little bit like this. When you click on it, it'll actually flip like this. If you're watching my screen, and you can see that it shows you the info, and you can flip back or close it. Once you get done with the card, notice that I'm just got done with the card. This particular card here, I don't know if you can see it, but the color line below the card is gone. So you have a full indication exactly what you already seen, what you haven't seen, which is handy. Because, so you don't have to remember, because potentially you can have a bunch of these. As you can see, they already have 5 screen full of cards. And you can see
you see on
Can
the
you add the link into the chat here, Oleg?
Sure.
It's g.co/Google Tips.
Google Tips, yeah.
And you have also the links on top, on the go, at home, at the office, or by product. So we kind of categorized our tips. So on the go are all the tips around mobile and mobile apps, like maps on mobile and stuff like that, and like pre-caching with YouTube videos and stuff you can do at home, and useful tips for when you're at the office. So that's really cool. And also when you are on one of those cards, you have all the share links at the bottom, so you can share them straight to Google+, Facebook, Twitter.
Wait, you can share it to something that isn't a social network?
Yes. Yeah. And or send them by email, and it will link to that specific card. Unfortunately, the actual shared post has just like the Google logo and the more or less generic link. We can hopefully improve that, so we can add the picture from the card to the shared post. But yeah, it's I think a really great way to share some good tips that some people might not know about.
No, absolutely. I think excellent job on this deal. I mean, I looked at it yesterday and thought, wow, this is exactly the kind of stuff for people who are just kind of starting out, and for even people that know, exactly step by step what to do. It's nice that every card you click on, it shows you on the left side here that it says stuff you need. It says Google account and about 2 minutes to set it up. So it's nice to know how long it takes to do this process. Then below it, it says works on Android. So you can tell if it works on iPhone, if it works on Android, if it works on the desktop. You can immediately tell that. Then on the right here, Dan, are you blue screening me or not?
Yeah,
blue
you're
box?
on.
Okay. So over here it says get started on the bottom, and if I click on it, then it shows me step by step. It shows 1 of 12 steps. So anybody can figure it out. Party mode is available on Android 4+1+. So Jelly Bean and up. And then you've got, go to this URL, and then you type in this. So, very nicely done, very simple, step by step. And I think they did a great job. Really, really useful and helpful. And I think it'll be very useful for, like Moritz said, up at the top here, you can look at things like on the go. So it'll filter it for just Android related or mobile related at the office. So it has to do with mostly, productivity type stuff. Things like, this at the office, having a card called Save Those Cat Videos to Watch Later, I don't think it quite applies for the office deal, but so obviously you need to do a little work.
Sum it up, pretty great page. Alan was indicating that we should hurry up. So
very nice job.
That was my contribution for today. If you haven't shared it yet, please share it and spread the word around.
Yeah, very nice, very nice.
And if you have any tips, suggest them.
Is it easier to get approved than helpouts?
Yes, it has to be.
Everything.
Yeah.
I think being elected to a U.S. Senate seat is easier than.
Changing the Google Plus user interface is easier than getting approved to a Hangout.
Yeah, ironically, I'm still waiting for my approval for my Hangout Toolbox helpout. So
you don't have don't you know anybody at Google?
I know all the people that are working on the helpouts team, and I reach out to them, but I'm still waiting.
Jokes aside, Moritz, what is the problem? Do you know?
I don't know.
No, but since you know the people, I mean, you haven't asked them the simple question.
Oh, they're in Mountain View, most of them, so I can't really reach out to them physically. But I will be there in March, so if it hasn't happened by March, I will
beat the hell out of them.
Ask them about mine, Moritz, please.
About what?
about my help outs.
Kentucky is kicking in.
With KGB and, you know.
If you don't have it by March, I mean, geez.
I see Michael Ellis has assumed the prone position. He's the
I'm right
Kentucky
behind
bourbon is.
He's
Ditto, so let's keep this going.
I'm still awake.
Yeah, Michael Banks is in a carbohydrate-induced coma. Whereas,
Let's keep going.
all right, next up is create your own street view, and you can also do an art exhibit. So this is kind of cool. They were experimenting with the ability. The street view things were like, I think the first one I saw that really intrigued me was at the Smithsonian, where they went in and they did the street view cameras, where you could go on Google Maps or Google Earth, and you could kind of do a virtual tour of the Smithsonian Institutes. For folks overseas, the Smithsonian is a U.S. government-funded, it's a nonprofit museum system, natural history, space, and the National Zoo, that sort of thing.
And the National Gallery.
Absolutely. And another thing that they did was you can create an exhibit. If you're, and I was thinking about doing this with the state park that's right next to me, and because they have some neat things, and doing an exhibit on Google. Is it? I don't know if the Earth maps. I'm not sure what the difference is, but in Street View, again, it's like Google Wallet, or do you mean Google Wallet, or maybe you mean Google Wallet?
Right. So
so tell us what this is, and I think this is awesome. This is again democratization of access and content.
So one of the neat things about this is that, you know, a lot of us, when photospheres first came out, they were equated to what we were be able to see as part of Street View. And now things are coming full circle, that now you can use some of the photospheres that you've been taking and place them in locations on a map and let people navigate through that map through your photospheres and not just the photospheres that were generated by the Street View car. So now you can use your phone and create your own Street View, basically.
Oh, that's cool.
It'll be interesting to see how
you could show off your neighborhood then.
How quickly is this updated?
You can show off your house. You can show off a museum, as you know. We've seen Street View being taken through buildings, and now you can do it through any building you want.
Wow.
How quickly is it updated?
Isn't that something that National Geographic just used to put together as their own version of the map?
I don't want Street View coming through my house. Thank you very much.
Don't do it.
We're going right into your bedroom closet next week, Sheila. You better get it cleaned up. How quickly is this updated? I mean, because this, for example, remember the protests in the Middle East or whatever? Could someone have? And I remember there was some epic YouTube videos of everyone uses the term drone, but one of those quadcopter cams above the protests in Egypt in Tahrir Square. I'm wondering how quickly this could
forget Middle East.
Updated,
let's do Ukraine.
Right?
Let's do Ukraine right now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, could you, if there's a protest going on, is it a rapid update process? Do we know where someone could like run a car through a protest and it could be up in hours and folks could be sharing it, and actually instead of relying on, you know, unverified sources say this many people were killed or whatever, you're actually got a freaking car going through there with 3D view, and it's kind of hard, you know, at that point you're like, you know, Jack Ruby video, like there's no denying it, right?
Something like that, right before the person dies by the mob.
Yeah.
And of course there'll be some guy on the side of the road with a horse mask on, you know, trolling you.
Yep.
But this is cool. This is great for, I mean, little time. You know, imagine a small museum that's not a major destination, but has cool stuff, and they're not big on the map. Now they can literally be on the map, and show off their stuff. and attract more attention, and people can learn. People who could never, you know, some kid in Botswana can, or the Sudan can learn about an interesting painting in a small Virginia museum that might be some topic that, for whatever reason, they're curious about. You know, I just, this is awesome. This is.
Well, that, and also, I don't know, Dan, did you guys ever talk about connected classrooms?
Not yet.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
Do you know
Not
what
yet
I'm
on
talking
this
about?
show.
Yes, we did.
Tonight?
Oh, you did?
Yes, we did on. Oh, tonight? No, we
No,
didn't
not
talk about it tonight.
But in the past, I mean.
Okay, so
Yes.
Moritz is saying it's more or less immediately online. So it could be used, and I don't think anyone's talked about it in this context. It could be used in a breaking news situation.
Yeah. Look at this guy.
Imagine if that had been available in Tiananmen Square.
Oh yeah, I mean we were all glued to Bernie Shaw, you know.
Yep.
And that guy in front of the tank and all that crazy stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, this is awesome. So we're for this, right? Anyone? I wish Craig were here to talk about how this is evil.
You know, the only thing that disappoints me about this, is that it appears that they're only able to be published publicly. So you can't create one of these and share it to your circles or share it to a community or whatever. It has to be public.
And this is where?
This is part of the Views community for Google Maps.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you're, for example, let's say you were at your kid's wedding, Alan, and you wanted to do a 3D thing in the bridal suite and the groom's thing, you know, for posterity for later, and use this interface, you couldn't do it privately. You'd have to do it publicly, which might make you reluctant to do so at all.
Right. So you can certainly take the photosphere and publish the photosphere or share the photosphere privately. That's certainly still doable, but you can't link it together in this clever way. And that's not a huge surprise, but it's a little disappointing.
Well, it's a brand new thing, right? So we'll see if they think.
You don't see me ranting about this one.
Yeah.
Not this week.
Next topic.
Okay. Not that looking gift horse in the mouth is beyond us. We're perfectly fine doing that. Okay, next up, petition to the president, follow the Fourth Amendment. Do we win? I posted about this. Google, I don't know if they actually created it, or I think it was a joint effort. Three things. One, what it is. Two, I was surprised that it barely got to, with the push. I mean, compared to SOPA, this thing barely made it. I shared it.
So what is it?
This is an amendment to say that the Fourth Amendment is the right against unlawful search and seizure, and it basically says that no one's.
They need a warrant to look at our Google Drive. They need a warrant.
Fourth Amendment. Let me get it.
Should get a warrant to search
James
our
Madison, a
Google
fellow
Drive.
Virginian, although we were separated by a few years. James Madison wrote the Fourth Amendment.
Dan?
Yes, sir.
Dan, let Sheila talk because she's right.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that.
Go ahead.
That thing is for the. You don't want the government to go into your Google Drive docs or anything you've got in there. They should need a warrant to go into your personal stuff.
And so the way it works is that it's an Electronic Communications Act or whatever it is, the law it's decades old. It views your email, for example, as a product of a commercial transaction, not subject to the same privacy that your home would have, for example. And so they could never open your physical mail without a warrant. They could never go into your home or your car or search your person without a warrant. But because of this act, which was written before any of the technologies we use now that are relevant were even invented, they're using this act to be able to go to a Yahoo or Google or whoever and say, we want to see Alan Firstenberg's email, and they can do it without a warrant, and you're not told that they're doing it because it's a commercial transaction. So what Google is saying, along with, I think, Facebook and other big tech companies, Yahoo, they're saying that the government, that they should change the law. That's what this petition's about. So the actual Fourth Amendment says the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. So they can't just go on a fishing expedition randomly. This is the argument against the stop and frisk policy in New York. This is the argument against the law that is in place now that this petition is addressing. So I was surprised. I know Vic shared it, and then I reshared it, and a bunch of people shared it, and it barely made it. I mean, with hours to spare, it was like 167 over the limit to get a response from the White House. Now, this could be a futile effort, to be sure. We don't know what, if anything will happen of it. But
well, what this means is that they need to at least reply. We need to get a reply back with them either saying, they will probably, say the generic, yes, we're fully in support of this sort of thing, whether or not they do anything about it. But it does require them to reply to the petition.
Is anyone
so they
surprised?
Can't just blow it off completely.
Alan, are you surprised at the lackluster response to this? Because to me, this seems like a clear-cut thing that's happening that's wrong. Whereas SOPA is much more difficult to explain to your average person. Yet SOPA got this tremendous response. And this thing is barely a blip on the radar screen.
The big difference is that SOPA could legitimately come out and say, if we don't do something about this, then our websites will be shut down and you'll be unable to use this, that, and the other thing. As opposed to this, where nobody's going to be shutting down over it.
I guess the other difference is SOPA was a law that might happen, so it was a threat, an immediate threat, whereas this is like, let's change something that is already on the books.
It's been going on for 20, 30 years.
And it's just as important next week as this week, so there's no rush. It's not a, business is closing sale. You have to act now or forever lose your peace.
Right. Let's keep it going.
Yeah. Okay. So next up...
And Oleg, you might want to turn screen share off.
Does he have naughty stuff? Should I switch to him?
No, don't switch to him. I'm listening to you while you're talking, and I forgot to turn this thing up. Thank you, Alan.
Okay, so I'm switching to just me. Next up is okay. This I cannot talk about. I think they're switching to ARM. ARM. I don't know what the.
Yeah, ARM.
Okay, so Google Mulls designing its own server microprocessors. Who wants to lead on that? Because I am unqualified. Because I don't know anything about it.
Sheila, why don't you take this one?
Huh?
You take this one.
Which one?
Oh my God.
The ARM issue.
Yeah.
The micro server they're micro.
Oleg, explain what's going on. Stop trolling poor Sheila.
They're just little processors.
He was stalling to get time to read the article, I think, just like I was.
Who put it in?
The short summary here is that we know that Google has in the past designed their own hardware. They've designed their own server systems. They've designed their own data centers. This is just somebody wildly speculating that since everyone else is doing it, they might design their own microprocessor. Yeah, maybe they will. Sure.
And ARM is the company. ARM is the company that delivers about 80% of the intellectual property for microprocessors in the world, because they basically own almost all the mobile market.
Well, you remember back in the days, Linus Torvalds was hired by this outfit, and they were he was working with this company, creating a new generation of CPUs that was supposed to be processors. I mean, that were supposed to be like total state of the art, and that I don't think went anywhere. Remember that, Alan? When Linus got hired by this?
Yeah, vaguely. To be honest, I don't remember where it went.
Okay, but anyway, it was definitely a company to design new processors, and he was hired, of course, he being such a prominent face in the industry, and then the whole thing kind of collapsed, and nothing came out of it. So, yeah, I think, I mean, if you look at AMD, and if you look at, you know, the lack of success they've had in terms of fighting Intel and everything, Apple does their own deal with their A5 and A6. I mean, they make their CPUs. Google can easily do it.
But it's worth noting that the A5 and A6 are based on ARM processors. They're based on the ARM technology. So it's not like Apple started from scratch.
Right.
They built on top of proven technology. And what this article is basically saying is that Google's going to do the same thing.
But before they used to use RISC chips, you know, they were designed by IBM, and I mean, there's, you know, people can definitely come up with their own stuff. I mean, if you look back in the old days, in the 80s, in terms of, you know, most people don't know, but the best computer ever built was Amiga, and that was the claim to fame on that computer was custom chips. That's what made it what it was. I'm sorry?
Nothing. Go ahead. Let's keep going, Oleg.
All right, are we good on that?
Oh, we're so good on that.
Okay, so anyway, some new photography features. Okay, so I didn't put this in.
I did.
Okay, JetBlue starts rolling out Wi-Fi. Let me do my, because I'll be honest, I got to pee, so I'm gonna roll out for a sec.
Say it again, Dan. Didn't he get that?
I have to go make an important phone call.
There we go. That's better.
So why don't you go make your phone call while I introduce this story?
But I just want to offer my views on the subtopic. JetBlue starts rolling out Wi-Fi, so we can talk about that. And also, this brings up the issue of phone calls on airplanes. The FCC just said that it's okay if airlines want to allow folks. In other words, it's not a safety issue. There's no technical reason, although there are some specifics, like you have to be 10,000 feet in the air, because the way the cell phone antennas were designed, you're on the ground and the antenna's up in the air. So if you were above the antennas, then when you're on your phone, it could impact a bunch of different cell towers. That was the fear. That's the reason that they've banned this all this time. So the new rule was, like, what if we allow it once they're at least 10,000 feet in the air, because then it's not a factor. Now it turns out that the DOT, the Department of Transportation, I think that's the agency, may end up banning them again in lieu of the FCC. And there is a lot of people who fly. I want to get Ellis, and I wish Bruce Turner was here. Are not at all interested in being sitting next to somebody who's, you know, planning their wedding reception on their phone. Texting's fine. I think we all agree on that, and that sort of stuff, as long as there's no safety issue. But like talking on the phone when you're trapped in an airplane, the argument for it is it's no different than a train or whatever. And I absolutely would not want what I posted when I posted this story initially, the sub story. I would not want to sit next to someone talking on the airplane, talking on the phone. I would not want to be in an airplane full of people talking on the phone. But I don't necessarily think that the government should ban it. I think it should be up to the airlines to create things like maybe a phone room or whatever,
Dan, don't you need to
that sort of thing. So what do you guys think? And Alan, why don't you lead, since you're eager to?
Why don't I lead on the actual story, not this phone story?
I think there's two stories that are equally interesting. In fact, the sub-story is probably
more interesting. If there are two stories, why didn't you create it as another topic? Anyway, so the first story, which we can actually cover quickly, is that JetBlue is going to be rolling out Wi-Fi finally. This is actually kind of notable for two reasons in my mind. The first is that it took them so darn long, and this was a company that prided itself on being hip and leading edge and innovative, and it just took them forever to introduce this feature when other airlines got to the punch far faster than they did. I stopped flying JetBlue because they weren't offering it. And the airlines that I was flying, like Virgin America, were offering it. And they were offering it at not entirely great prices, but reasonable prices. That said, JetBlue is now finally starting to roll it out on some of their airplanes. And they're doing it in what I think is a really interesting way. The first is they're essentially creating two tiers of wireless networks. The first is a relatively low bandwidth tier, which will be suitable for doing things like sending and receiving email, doing some very simple web browsing, that sort of stuff. And the cost for that will be 0.
Do we know why they took so long?
Wow.
I think part of it is they didn't want to retrofit all their planes, and part of it was they were trying to find good technology. And part of it was that they were, trying to find the right thing to be hip and leading edge. And by doing it this way, they certainly came out as leading edge. So while everyone else is going to be trying to charge for this, they now have a great marketing tool that says, hey, you want to be online in the air? You can do so for nothing. Now, that was the first clever angle. The second clever angle is it actually has high speed in-air Wi-Fi. And that's important because you need the high-speed aspect to do streaming audio and video, which nobody else supports. So you're going to be able to, for a fee, stream video to your Android device, to your, you're going to be able to stream Netflix. And
so you can do basic,
ridiculously brilliant.
You're saying you can do basic stuff like email, check your Facebook messages, etc., free. But if you want to stream video, you'll pay on JetBlue?
That's it. And this is better than what everyone else is offering because everyone's requiring you to pay for that basic service and denying access to streaming audio and video.
How much does it cost?
I don't know. I didn't see that in the 2 write-ups that I looked at.
I mean, how much does it typically cost on an airplane?
I paid $12 tonight for an hour and a half.
And what was the experience like?
It sucks.
It sucks. Yeah, it's slow.
I mean, what are you able to do? What are you not able to do?
Like, is you can, do email. Yep. You can read email. You can write email. You can chat. But that's it.
So you're basically like
I can usually
2400 baud modem quality.
It's a little better than that, but yeah. I check my notifications, but now and again it simply will not show me the latest notifications. Like there's a big pause in the response time.
Right.
And
Michael Ellis has emerged into his Borg chamber at this point. So this is very innovative, Alan. I'm curious. Do you know anything about how the technology works? To be in an airplane flying from wherever to wherever, how are they actually accessing the internet?
Sure.
Is it satellites?
I'm sure it's satellites, yeah.
I don't know if it's satellites or if it's terrestrial. To be honest, satellites have the advantage. Well, I don't know.
I don't see how you can do terrestrial. We don't have wireless technology that can span hundreds and hundreds of miles with a decent signal.
No, but we do have cellular technology that can, and that's just wireless.
True, but I don't think they're using cellular towers.
I didn't say cellular towers. I said cellular technology.
Which would need cellular towers to work.
No, it just means that you need some way to do the handoff. And if you've got towers that are not specifically cellular towers but are dedicated to this using the same kind of technology, it's just a matter of handing off a particular plane from one cell to another, basically.
Another possibility would be from plane to plane, because there's so many planes in the air. Potentially, you could have something like that. I don't know.
No, that seems unlikely. I mean, the other possibility also is you can still do terrestrial radio. I mean, that's what airplanes use today.
Right.
Just for their radio communication. So being able to do that for data is not unheard of either. I don't know.
Okay, so Alan, like when Jason
Let's
Salas
keep it going, Dan, because we're running out of time.
Okay, real quick. When Jason Salas is on here, he's definitely in time. I mean, we can have a real conversation with him. Are they going over a satellite or a cable?
No. Almost no communication these days uses satellites. There's way too much latency.
It's undersea cables, like Australia and everything. It's all cables.
Yes, as Michael Daniels has put it in comments, it's a very long wire.
Okay, cool. Okay, so awesome.
No, but there's definitely, Alan, there's definitely satellite companies that do internet. Come on.
Sure there are, but to be honest, those are not what's primarily used these days.
No, people hate those. I mean, locally we have rural people who have to use satellites and they hate them, and they're begging for Comcast to come out and run a wire.
Yeah, that's not accurate, Dan. Come on. I got my Idaho people, the resort in Idaho, They're using satellite internet connection. I chime into them almost daily via Log Me In from Seattle here, and it's not that bad. Come on.
I mean,
there's a built-in 1-second latency when you're talking satellite.
Yeah, and I know that when
you can't avoid it.
When there's a cloudy day, my Comcast wired signal works fine. I know that I mean, I'm being honest. Locally, people here have complained, and it's been a local issue in the news that they hate the satellite offerings and they're begging for Comcast to come out, or even DSL. I mean, there are people using dial-up, for God's sakes.
Right. Let's keep it going, Dan.
Next up.
So what
Monday,
do people think
right?
about making phone calls in planes?
Oh yeah. What are your thoughts on this?
I think my personal feeling is that there should be a phone call surcharge, and 75% of that surcharge should be paid to the people sitting next to you.
What about I've heard a section like, what if it was like the old days when people would smoke in the bathrooms or something, but then there'd be a line to get in the bathroom. What about a section of the plane where you allowed it?
Remember those phones they had built into the seats where you can pay?
Yeah, I remember that.
Fortunately, though, they cost like $7 a second.
I know, but I'm just saying, it's not like it's a big stretch. People making phone calls in airplanes. It's not like it's some new.
But
no, it's not.
But almost no one did it.
But nobody did it because it was ridiculously expensive. I think it's a great idea to make it ridiculously expensive again and distribute the cost to the people who are suffering.
Why not just force it to be used with the earpiece or something?
Because you still have people talking.
Do you think that it's okay? Anyway. We all agree none of us wants to be stuck next to some idiot talking on the phone the whole time without any regard for the.
No, I don't want to be stuck.
The question is, should the government ban it, or should it be up to the airlines to choose based on what they think their customers want, and come up with maybe innovative ways to have a section or something where you could do it? What do you think? Should the government ban it, or should it be up to the airlines? What do you think?
How is it different than being stuck with a crying baby?
The airlines.
How is it different?
I don't know.
It's not.
It is different.
Great, so it's not different. Next subject.
There is no next subject, right? Except Monday.
Yeah,
right?
there is. Oh my God. So as a reminder, we've got a show on Monday nights called Our Android Week. It is at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Dan actually starts that on time, more or less. At least he has the past few weeks. There we're going to be talking about two big stories that have been airing. The first is that I get to rant again about how they've screwed up Google Play, even though they've tried falsely. They think they're tying it closer into Google Plus, but they screwed that up. So you'll get to hear me rant about that on Monday night. Plus, Sprint appears to be preparing a bid for T-Mobile US, and we'll be talking some more about that Monday night. So how was your Google Plus week, Mike Ellis, before you fall asleep?
I'm not falling asleep. I'm enraptured by all of this discussion. This is fascinating. My Google Plus week was great. But I have to say I learned a lot of good things tonight. I'm very happy about this show.
Awesome. Oleg, how was your Google Plus week?
I was actually teaching a class, like I said, so I didn't spend much time on Google Plus. So it was fine. I liked the fact that they rolled out a bunch of new changes, and the little auto snow thing is kind of cute, and the shaking. My hand still shakes, but actually it's kind of cool.
Sheila, how was your Google Plus week?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Now learning all the changes, and I would still like to know where you can start a Hangout on air without having to start an event. And I don't want to have to go and look.
There was supposed to be a button next to the button that says create an event. And I thought you can just start one. I thought you could just say start one that starts now, and it doesn't actually create a public event or anything. But I haven't played around with it enough yet.
Yeah, you can start one now, but it starts. The only thing I see here is schedule a Hangout on air.
Yeah.
But you can start, and then but you can click on Start Now, but you still have to. It still is an event. You know. Don't necessarily want to. I don't necessarily want to. But anyway, that's my issue right there. But my Google Plus week has been pretty good.
Great. We have this comment from Steve Perry on our last subject. U.S. provider GoGo has built a network of 3G ground stations all across the U.S. and planes communicate with these as they fly overhead. It's a simple system, but bandwidth can be limited. That's kind of what I meant by using cellular technology without using actual cellular towers.
Yeah, and it sucks. I mean, that's exactly what they use is the GoGo thing, and it's pretty bad. I mean, so their towers are great, but speed is horrible.
Yeah, but it's better than the alternative, which is nothing.
Right. Well.
Or whatever.
Unless you have offline and spreadsheets.
Depending how you look at it, Alan.
I'd asked Dan how his Google Plus week was, but he seems to be indisposed at the moment.
I'm here.
Phone call yet?
Oh,
I am here.
There you are. How was your Google Plus week, Dan?
It was good. I was talking to we have a sales manager regionally, and we're hiring from Arlington, Alexandria, Northern Virginia, to Fairfax, Loudoun, to Warren. So if you live in those areas and you're a good salesperson, you want to make 6 figures, then get in touch with me. And
Can you imagine how much Dan makes if he's paying people 6 figures? Can you imagine?
I can imagine that it's enough to keep this show running as a money-sucking hole year after year.
And a time-sucking hole, more importantly. Alan, how was your Google Plus week?
Speaking of time-sucking holes, my Google Plus week was actually really good. Tuesday, there was scheduled Google Glass office hours in Manhattan, so I ventured in and realized that I actually needed to be back fairly quickly, so I only spent an hour at the office hours. It took me like 3 or 4 times as long to travel there and back. So I spent an hour at the office hours. During that hour, I met up with the Google Glass developer relations team, which is always fun to see Jenny and Timothy and Alan again. And I was asked, I answered 3 questions from various other Glass explorers, which I don't think was quite the point of me being there, but it was still great to help other Glass explorers. One of the questions I was asked is, why am I doing this? Why am I trying to help people? And kind of my answer is, I love Glass. I believe in it. And I believe that if it wins, we're all going to win. And, I like helping people. That's why I do that. That's why I do Google Plus help. That's why I'm on this show week after week after interminable week. I mean, that's why I love doing this show.
Years.
Thank you all. Come on.
All right, we're up against a hard break, so thank you all very much for watching. We do 2 programs. Our Android week is Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific. And Google Plus Week, our flagship program, the longest-running show in many ways on Google Plus and YouTube Live. Google Plus Week airs Friday around 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, give or take a minute or 2. We thank you very much for watching. We thank you very much for your comments. Please check out the panel. I post their names in the post. Check out the links, although we have a few this time. Normally we have more. But thank you for watching. And until next time, we want to wish all of you a wonderful, epic Google Plus week. Thanks.